the Octavius. Occupied by more than 10,000 souls, the Octavius was launched at the height of Earth's space engineering era, at the best and brightest, with the bearing the best and brightest to the stars, with a mission to settle new worlds, a wellspring of humanity, sowing its royal oats throughout the cosmos to ensure the survival of the species. 1,000 years on, this grand expedition is presided over by a fragile alliance of ruling elites, with each leader representing an aspect vital to the ship's operations. House of Stars, responsible for navigation, updates, and analysis to the star charts. House of Life, responsible for genetic purity. House of Face, responsible for all diplomatic liaisons both within the ship and to other elements met in the universe. The House of Arms, the strong military elite of the ship, able to combat both internal and external threats as needed. And the House of Love, dedicated to providing the much-needed maintenance and engineering that keeps the ship going year after year, generation after generation. These aspects, or houses, and the privileged few that are their progeny, hold the power of life and death on the Octavius. This responsibility is such a heavy burden that no luxury is spared to facilitate the rigors of their arduous taskmastering. In order to ensure the safety of these revered leaders, they are protected by squadrons of advanced military robots, which are serviced by teams of expert technicians, who themselves are watched over by a corps of elite soldiers detailed to cordon off and defend the opulent upper decks occupied by these masters of civilization. But today, in those opulent upper decks, bathed in the radiant aurora of the Pegasus Cluster, all those of consequence gather to mourn the passing of one of their fellows. For Arkwell Bloop of the House of Love has fallen, leaving no heir to carry the Bloop name. No one to continue their good work as master of engineering. And so you all stand in the glorious upper chambers of the Crystal Palace, with the glowing lights of the Pegasus Cluster casting its iridescent ambience throughout the chamber, where Bloop's corpse is being jettisoned into the void, into the center of the Pegasus Cluster. At the head of a grand procession of people, all standing in the hall, all dressed in their finest, all of their various augmentations and genetic outcroppings being polished and respected to be their finest and best presented. At the head of this stands Malon Ilok, the head of the House of Stars, who steps up, his one giant eye staring out with a single tear welling up in the corner. He turns on the translators, because there is a fundamental breakdown in communication between all the different and varied aspects of the leaders' houses. They don't always get along, even though they have a common language, but the translators do most of the work for allowing them to communicate. And they'll quickly come to life and start echoing his songs of praise throughout the assembled peoples. Welcome, dearly beloved, who are gathered here today to celebrate the life and times of Arkwell Bloop. He was a great and a noble member of this house, this collection of people. And the various people who he constantly amalgamated with, forever adding to his greater being, creating the larger entity that became what he was, all 17 tons of it, before he eventually passed from this world by amalgamating with his chief liaison officer. Though their brain cells were not able to be separated in the operation, and their life was unable to be saved, we still hold them both in dearest memory for the good work that they did in perpetuating our continued existence into this world shall not be forgotten. The address continues to such a degree, echoing off into the chambers as people start to become bored, disinterested, and far in the back rooms, away from the official ceremonies, the sounds of a different sort are taking place. As R.N. Alt Thrate, describe yourself, please.
Arnold is a strapping figure, 7 feet tall, flat top.
And what augmentations do you have?
Massive guns.
Like literal and metaphorical? Yeah, okay.
They have barrels that pop out of them at maximum flex.
Somewhat of a walking battleship in the world. Is having a illicit romantic entanglement with his latest affair. A member of House of Life. A young thing who fell into your honeyed trap some time ago and is enthralled in your arms. Oh, Arnold, how can we dare be here on the death of the day of Beebloop? Does it not show that everybody is vulnerable to the arms of death that will come for us?
The arms of death will come for us eventually, but I like to feel that we are honouring his incessant, relentless partnering in our own way.
But he amalgamated by joining his brain forthwith and relentlessly to all he came across. Surely you're not saying we should get that intimate?
Well, isn't it the best way of honouring his legacy? Unless you're terrified to merge your perfect purity with my massively augmented perfection.
And so we fade to black on a small tryst that happens on stage left before we eventually cast a spotlight on Aurora Sanks. What are you doing with your time during these ceremonies?
Well, I am there with Malon with the giant handkerchief to dab on his eye, because I am there at all times whenever he needs me. I'm tall, thin, and just a little bit twitchy at all times also. 3 eyes, all the better to see the whole of what we need to see. Very long fingers, very dexterous.
Thin and slender, for accessing all of the vital parts of the machines that you need to get along. And what house do you hail to?
I am from the House of Stars.
And Paul, Arnold?
I am from the House of Arms.
As your master weeps gently, he says, Aurora, I'm so glad you're here to administer the necessary decontaminants to my body. As the House of Stars is perpetually dealing with itself on a chemical manner on a day-to-day basis to evolve to be able to see the multi-dimensional spaces they constantly entangle themselves in the quantum navigational system.
I put together an appropriate cocktail of assorted drugs to help calm, but also give him that opportunity to be able to see further into the universe and, maybe interact with the passing of Bleebloo.
Very well. And from this scene of tearfulness, we then move on to Betholt Carr of House
Face. Betholt is tall. She comes from a very negotiating part of House Face. As such, they are outfitted with a lot of power spikes. So just kind of hair that can stand up, spikes on their shoulders and arms so they can kind of fluff out when they want to emphasize or make a bit of a power move. They're quite tall because everyone knows that power comes from being very tall.
Does that mean you have a flotation device built in to levitate a few feet off the ground?
100%. But also very ridiculously flexible because if you're too tall, you need to be able to. Not everyone is as tall as you, so you need to sometimes be able to come down. You know,
equal footing. You know,
Yeah.
negotiation is built. And what are you doing here? Are you in? Yeah.
Yeah, I am looking professional, looking strong, looking appropriately mournful, but also being just very aware of how this changes things and all of the power shifts that this will likely cause. Just watching people.
The shifty eyes of the highly perceptive Betholt scan the room, looking around, and eventually fall to Angelson Crow, who is found...
Yes, so I am standing there quite stout, surprisingly flexible for my stature. And you can see in my posture the obligation of me having to be there. I'm not unhappy per se, but it is a part of my position, I suppose. I would much rather be at home entertaining myself in some way.
Very well. You know, you are an amazing specimen of genetic purity as a progeny of House Life. And so the sermon eventually concludes, but it leaves many questions, for this grand generational ship was fueled, no doubt perpetuated by the great work of House Love. And so, as both the head of House Love and the head liaison officer, chief liaison officer of House Love, have fallen, it has been brought to the attention of the Chief Legislative Council, what remains of them, that some action must be taken to reassert power and authority in that area. Due to the breakdown through to the long-standing evolution of this ship, there's been a breakdown in communication between the thralls of the ship and the upper classes of the ship. The upper classes are all kept separate. You guys have interpreters. You have people who work for you. You have personal guards. You have robots. You can have them with you at any time you like, or you can have them away from you at any time you like, depending on the circumstance you seek. However, as strong representatives of the household, you were brought before the Legislative Council, summoned together, and addressed by Malon Enoch of the House of Eyes in a secret meeting after the body has been gloriously jettisoned into the Pegasus Cluster. Says, you are members of, you get brought into a private chamber. It's a small, round room, well, obviously big enough to accommodate all of you, of iron walls with glowing lines that sort of indicate the power that's running through it. But nonetheless, a space that is separated from the rest of the ship, in the Crystal Palace on the upper floors. They bring you in and says, welcome, you have all been brought together because you have been put forward as representatives of your various factions. People who are, well, doers, go-getters, who can go out and seek what is going on. You've all been chosen for your particular skills. You may or may not be acquainted with each other, but I imagine you will take the time to do so. Regardless, you are charged to journey into both the Talon occupied by the House of Love and throughout all sectors of the ship to discover what is the best course of action to reassert the control of House Love. There are many who would wish to take over the portfolio of House Love, but we must see that it goes to the right hands. And so, before we make a decision of how the portfolio will be split amongst the rest of the houses, or who will take over the house and their responsibilities, we would like an investigative report to be undertaken by all remaining houses. And so, you have been chosen. we wish that you will take the time now to collect yourselves and move forwards. You have access to, as heads and responsible people in your own departments, you have access to all the information that you would need. And we give you the utmost jurisdiction to access staff, people, and privileged information among the ship. Please take the time to acquaint yourselves with each other and go forth and report back either within 3 days or with any information as it comes up. And Aurora, I trust that you'll have our interests at heart.
Absolutely, Malon, always. As I am your willing slave.
Good. That's what I like to hear. Very well. Please, all go forwards. We'll see you later. I will leave the room to you, and from here you'll be able to access any equipment and personnel that you'll need. And as he walks out, a table rises up in the middle of the floor, and various seating arrangements pop out. Of course, some of you may have your own seating or don't even require it as you hover above the ground.
All right. I'm Bethel Keka. I know some of you. But let's get one thing straight. We have a lot of work to do. I am going to help us lead us as we negotiate our way through these very tough times, these very tough trials. So please, under my leadership, I promise, we will come to an appropriate and a reasonable conclusion that is best for this entire ship.
You're very forceful.
Thank you. It's what I specialize in. I went to forcefulness school for a while. Took a bit of a major, but sorry, I don't think we.
Aurora Sanks.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I work for Malon. Mr. Elok. I very much enjoy working for him. I do enjoy just working for people. And I really hope that we can get to a good resolution here. And I feel like you've got some good ideas there.
Yeah, thank you. Lovely to meet you.
Before we get started, I was thinking maybe we could have a platter or something sent out. Would be nice just to make sure we're scented before we begin.
Yes, food, always desirable for negotiations. Yes. I'm sure there's something...
Yeah, so before you on the table, there are a series of controls, interfaces, and devices by which you can summon your various needs, as well as communication feeds and consoles to access information as needed. So you instinctively
press the food button.
Yeah, wave your fingers over. It interfaces with your thoughts, and a team of servants come in bearing some platters containing
grapes. Just a whole mountain of grapes. Did anyone want anything else?
Yes,
grapes
and
cool.
I interact with the table and order just like the most dangerous, the most uncomfortable thing to eat.
Oh, like a crab with like pair of knives in its hands. You have to like tackle it before you can eat it.
A rare barbed Felox is brought into the room. It's in a containment cage.
Right.
With its laser forks.
Yep,
so
fantastic.
You can, cut it into little pieces and separate it while it's still alive.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I attack that thing. I just make sure everyone can see my skill.
That is very impressive.
Thank you.
I will have the cyanide macaroons, thanks.
I watch in awe as this display is going on, and then I take out my little collection of medications and put a little bit of bit here and a little bit of that there, and then snort some up.
You add to the chemicals in your system and bring a certain balance to help you focus and meditate.
I can now sit down.
Excellent.
I don't believe I know any of you. I am Arnold Threat, House of Arms. I will keep you safe through this delicate negotiation process, especially from external as well as threats that we may find from within.
I suppose there could be that risk, couldn't there? Well, I am here to navigate and find our way. And look, I have done a lot of research about our lofty goals here and the ship, and So I'm sure that will be of use as we travel forward.
Well, that's everyone of importance. So why don't we get started? We'll start looking at where should we start?
Angel's son?
Sorry. Yeah, I guess.
We should probably... I'm taking minutes.
If only for procedures. If only for logistics.
I was just thinking maybe before we begin, maybe we could get a little massage going on around, if that's okay.
Classic, yeah. I don't think it's okay.
It's important for my mind and body to be one.
Your mind and body, yeah, always being one.
Stuff that can help with that.
Standard assault procedures require one masseuse per 3 assaulters.
That is
We
true.
will be following procedures.
Yes.
At this point, a shudder ripples through the ship, one that causes every aspect of the room that you're in to shake and all of the lights to flicker. This kind of intrusion is highly irregular, especially in the Crystal City, where everything is always well-maintained and perfect.
Is this a phenomena I've seen before? Nothing I've seen like this before.
You've definitely seen things being unstable before. You've seen this in facilities on the ground in planets that you've explored, when things are going wrong, and particularly when things are geologically unstable.
They're not here.
It's unthinkable.
Can we bring up a screen with lots of red flashing lights and...
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to see, can we access... Do any of you know how to access the diagnostics of the ship?
Status report, diagnostics of the ship, please.
All right, so you push a button, and then one of your subordinates comes out and then pushes a series of buttons in front of you, and then a display comes up and demonstrates the ship as a whole seems to be experiencing power fluctuations.
Now, I have not studied for years in regards to the maintenance of the ship, but this seems irregular.
Indeed, it is irregular. But none of us will really know what happens with the ship. That was the House of Love.
Well, that is why we are here. We should get our masseuse and begin our negotiated exit.
All right. I would say that the cause of action calls us to act now. This is too important a mission. If things are already going wrong, how little time do we have before this ship falls into the Pegasus system?
A group of very nervous-looking masseuses wheeling massage tables and bearing oils and ointments come into the room,
Thank
looking
you.
questioningly around.
No, I agree with Betholt. I think we need to go. We need to go sooner than later. If this could be the end of us all.
One can't make rational decisions without a massage.
Always up.
Please start at my shoulders and work their way down.
I throw up all my clothes very quickly. I get on the masseuse table.
That's the way.
And I get the quickest massage. I tell them to hurry up. It takes about 30 seconds. I get off the table and I go, all right, now we've got our bloody massages. We're off.
Okay, you see that Angelson is having their toes delicately manicured in the bubble bath.
Always Angelson. All right.
I lift my piece of cucumber and put it back down over my eye.
That's it. Let the relaxation flow through you, Betholt.
I'm ready. So I am Angelson for the introductions I'm ready for now. And now that I've had my grapes and my massage, my parentage is Theron. And you will have heard of me. We are quite important and special. We spent Okay. All right, let's continue.
Yep, let's continue. Off we go. Where are we starting?
I'm just admiring your shoulder.
Oh, no, they're very practical.
Do they always do that?
Only when I want them to. Then I, flick them a bunch.
Yes, we should definitely go. We should definitely.
Yes, where are we off to?
According to this map.
They bring up the map of the ship. You guys should all have access to. But that's about the extent of your understanding of lower areas. Even though you are heads of houses, you exist in the Crystal Palace and the Crystal City, and seldom go down into the lower decks. You do into your own area, but maybe not too deep. Mostly you go into the upper decks, and or, well, likely never go into anyone else's quarters.
Maybe one of these masseuses know where to go.
Okay, you look over. Masseuse looks. They are all masseuses of the House of Life. So they are adept at looking after people.
Masseuse? Masseuse number 1, please address it.
Hello. Yes, your Eminence. What can I possibly do for you? They say in a dialect that only they can understand. So the rest of
Do we
you...
not have translators in the room?
You guys may have personal translators, but that's only for the exalted language, which is spoken in the Crystal Towers, and for the upper echelons of language that you all speak.
We
The
don't need
thralls, they speak common tongue, and so it's kind of hard for you to understand them. You understand them because you're House of Life, and they're House of Life thralls, so you have that in common, and those translators inbuilt. Yes, Your Eminence. What possibly could I do for you?
Could you please give some information about the lower rungs of society? I've got no idea about this, obviously.
Yes, obviously, we in House Life, we like to look out. I mean, I'm just a humble masseuse. I can only tell you about the great life in service to your gracious being that we live. It is certainly, I'm grateful for every day of my existence in your service.
Yes, I relay the message. They have a fantastic time in House Life. That's all
I would
can tell you.
expect so. It is the House of Life. However, the House of Arms has access to the exterior defense network, a network of tunnels that go all over the ship.
Yes, but you have no idea of the knowledge that we have in the House of Face. I would like to call my power posse. They're like smaller, obviously lesser beings than I am.
They all like to dress like you, or try.
Of course. But they come in, and I would like to ask them, we need transport to down.
Okay, so a door opens, and a group of individuals dressed in forms and all kinds of arrays of panels with information on them, and sort of look around. It's like, yes, great, but what can we do for you?
So we need to know the part of the ship that makes it shake. If you do you have any information on the ship shaking?
Have you consulted the diagrams?
No, that's your job. Come on.
Very well.
Yes.
We shall consult the diagrams
Yes, thank you.
of the ship.
Yes.
Very well. We'll get into immediate communication with House Love.
I really enjoy watching you work.
Hello, Betholt.
Thank you.
It seems that we're having some issues communicating with House Love. Perhaps we should call on our expert in House Love's languages.
Yes, let's call one of our expert House Love languages. Let's get them in. Let's see if they can translate or get in touch.
Certainly.
Thank you.
We'll call them right over.
Thank you.
Okay, so a few more minutes pass, and then eventually one of your power posse returns to the room and says, The expert in the languages of House Love seems to be indisposed right now.
What do you mean they're indisposed?
Well, they're engaged in a deep translation project.
A deep translation project. They can't make time for me?
Well, we can't contact them right now. They're in an isolation chamber.
All right, absolute incompetence. Shall we go to... Why don't we just go to somewhere in wherever House Love are meant to be and poke around?
To the exterior defense network.
Fine, we can go to the exterior defense network if we must. That's not in House Love, is it?
It's everywhere.
I understand that it's everywhere. Thank you.
It's not in House Love. It protects House Love like it protects all parts of the ship.
And
Comforting militaristic hug.
And you watch over all of us while we sleep, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we should be able to go that direction, and if it goes everywhere, surely we'll find where House Love is. We'll just keep opening some doors until we get there.
This is fine. That sounds like a good idea. Power posse, organize us transport. We're going to open some doors.
Very, very well. We'll let you know as soon as Reynald is available.
We need someone else to open the doors for us. You can't touch the doors.
No, I'm not. They're going to open the doors.
Okay, good.
Don't. I'm not. Thank you.
I don't use these fingers for doors.
No.
Very well. So you make your way into the exterior defense network, and whereabouts in the ship would you like to go? Because that can theoretically take you anywhere in the ship.
We want to go. Do we want to go to the?
Need to hit the western talon.
Yeah, where House Love is.
Shall we start from the bottom or the top?
That's top.
The inside. My
Sorry.
knowledge of stars tell me all the power comes from the inside.
Yes, well, the quantum systems that drive the ship.
The inside. The outside is just the fleshy shell.
So, do you want to go into House Love, or do you want to go into the ecology of House Stars?
Well, we need to find out about House Love, clearly. So
House
maybe-
Love.
House Love.
House
yes.
Love. All right.
Okay, everyone, make our way out of the room and up to near the probe spire where the flesh catapults that will put us into the exterior defense network sit.
Very well. You all head to the base of the probe spire. You make your way through the vast winding corridors and eventually get below the Crystal Palace, where it becomes just networks of corridors. The corridors become less exalted and more utilitarian, but you're used to this. All of the patterns become orange, red, and green, falling into the color schemes of the House of Arms in a state of general alert, in which the House of Arms is always kept, because everyone is kept at the razor's edge of their finest military discipline. Eventually, you come to a large cargo lift at the top of the dock ring, which would lead you down to the defense network that clads the outside of the western talon.
I will bend down and present my eye for identification.
Yes, you are immediately recognized by the guards on duty there, who see your badge and have sent a signal and immediately salute to you. Ting! A hard clang as their metallic arms and various appendages smack into their heads.
I return their salute with a flex.
Excellent. You raise your arms and flex to show the might of your house, as is standard.
Standard military protocol. And 3 guests.
And 3 guests, of course. You've been given jurisdiction, so all of your guests are allowable. And you enter into the exterior defensive network. You start going down some corridors on the outside. But there are only a few points in the exterior defense network that will allow you access into the realms of House Love. Obviously upper, middle, lower.
The middle. It's almost like the inside.
Should we not start at the upper and work our way down?
But if it's at the bottom, we'll be the furthest away.
Oh, okay, fine. The middle.
We were going to start from the inside out.
Yes, the middle.
All right, the middle.
Okay, you get into a large cargo elevator. It starts moving, and then again, a shudder goes through the ship. The elevator vibrates and stops. Lights go out. You're plunged into pitch blackness.
I'm going to grab out for Betholt.
Uh,
I'm going to feel for those power shoulders because I feel like that would keep me safe.
They certainly will. And I activate my luminescence.
Okay. Boom. Inside is once more illuminated, and as the light comes back, Aurora and Renault look across to see Aurora and Betholt in an embrace.
I immediately let go and stand back, looking perfectly normal. Perfectly normal.
No?
Bit twitchy.
Bethel looks unfazed.
Feels good to have some relaxing time, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, you again.
As the light now fills the chamber, power is not restored. Lights are not brought back.
Arnold starts to look around the elevator for the escape hatch, while the masseuse continues to work the shoulders.
Okay, as you sort of search around, you see that there is in fact a hatch at the top of the elevator, and your climbing claws engage. You just chunk, chunk, chunk. You start riding up the side of the inside of the elevator, and then flip what you can only imagine is an access hatch.
What do you see?
I see mostly darkness. I feel relaxation, but you should all get your limber bodies up here. This will be perfectly safe. while it is not standard procedure, we at least have some procedures for this.
All right, Aurora, I'll help you up.
Oh, thank you.
I can let out a strong arm.
Ooh, I'm very
And-
excited by this.
I will use my levitating powers and bring us both up.
It's a standard anti-gravity engine. It's pretty run-of-the-mill, really.
I am even more grateful because I did not have to touch any of the walls or doors or anything like that.
And you come out from the lift into the shaft of the corridor. You look around and you see a few meters up, there is another hatch that goes into the area of the middle of House Love.
As you see, there is our access point. We got 99% of the way there, and I think on your evaluation sheet, that is a pass.
On your evaluation sheet, you'd be asking, where's the last 1%?
But I was right. It is the middle.
All right, let's
me.
move out of the shaft.
I will form a beachhead.
Yeah, Angelson, you stay there. It's all fine, all good.
As you leave the elevator shaft and start moving up the inside of the elevator shaft towards the hatch, you put on the floodlights that jet out of your forehead, and you catch light of shapes and figures scuttering away from the shaft above you. A bunch of malformed figures with strange shining attachments start moving away from you much farther up in the shaft above.
Ooh, I feel like this is me. I've studied all these phenomena and things on other planets. I mean, obviously studying the geography and topography is a different thing to the animals, but, you know, they get in the way and I see them.
Give me an education roll.
Education?
It's a stat.
It's up the top. Percentage. Oh, yeah, well under. That's a good pass.
A glimpse out of your vision recognizes humanoid forms distinctly, but altered significantly.
Oh, humanoid. Altered distinctly. Could they still be workers at this level?
Or they could possibly be. They might even be thralls of House Love, but why they are here and running away from the radiant, glorious light that shines out of Renald's head is another question.
And why did the elevator stop is the other question.
You're not sure, but you are now close to the service hatch. The figures lurk in the shadows, moving away from the light.
Stay within the light of my forehead. Move towards the door. I will prepare safe entry. And I'll spin the gun barrels out of my gun show and just...
Your shoulders and biceps open up, gun barrels facing...
blaze away just randomly into the dark.
You're just going to start shooting in the elevator shaft into this... Okay, the whole shaft is lit up, and again you see the light and the fire as the sparks from the hard ammunition starts just ricocheting around the shaft up there. Screams! As you see lumps of flesh and articulated metal start just flying away from the walls, and some of it starts falling down the shaft towards you.
Angelson, Betholt, Aurora, we can proceed now.
I have closed my third eye because despite actually pretending like I couldn't see in the dark, I totally can with that third eye. That light was just too much for me.
Okay, so it seems like all movement has stopped now further up the elevator shaft.
All right, well, into the service hatch.
Exactly.
I approve of your efficiency. Let's move on.
Okay, so you open... The hatch seems like it's jammed shut. You're not quite sure how it functions.
For the moment, I shall wedge some of my massively enhanced fingers in there and gradually ratchet it open.
Okay.
My masseuse in my back muscles as they get together.
A gust of stale air sucks into the elevator shaft from the interior of the ecology of House of Love. And you see on the other side, a light flickers through, but there are lights on, and eerie blue-green light echoes through the corridors, grated floors and metal walls, pipes lining all parts, and wires hanging down, cables all throughout the space.
This is an assault on my senses. So rough. So harsh.
All right, let's keep moving. Yes?
You look stressed. Can I lend you my masseuse?
No. I mix up another little cocktail just to bring myself back to it, and I'll be fine.
Okay, you engage the stimulants. They really perk you up today. And who goes first? Are you dropping down?
I will hold the corridor.
Donk! It's your heavy metal frame lands inside of the corridor. You do a quick scan, your low light vision kicking in, and you can see up and down the corridor. Nothing's showing up at the moment.
Excellent. I'll spin down the guns and stow them back away.
The rest of you make your way into the corridor. You can see probably as the corridor arcs around the outside of the chamber, of the exterior of the ship, and eventually you see a console, but still you see more lights, white lights, coming from much further down the right-hand side of the corridor. To the left-hand side, the eerie green glow continues.
I feel like the green is more unnatural. We should go that way.
Should we be going down the more unnatural route?
We are investigating unnatural occurrences. Angelson, what is your opinion? We can then have a quorum.
Yeah, no, maybe it's time for a break. For a little while now. No? Green. I vote green.
Okay. Well, I vote we go down the lights.
The white light?
The not the green one.
But the white lights are all over our area of the ship. They're perfectly normal.
Yes, and with perfectly normal comes perfectly normal people that we can talk to and find things out.
Well, I think it's 3 against 1, but you are very persuasive.
I am, and I take you by the arm as my bioluminescence lights up just a little bit. I just give you a firm, just touch on the shoulder.
Maybe the white light. Maybe. I think, it's probably a good idea to talk to some people first.
Yes.
So you head down to the direction of the white lights. Once more, you leading the way or not?
I shall lead the way.
Very
Can
well.
you maybe not shoot the first thing we see, though?
Wasn't the first thing we saw, but sure. I shall engage with standard house arms protocol for this sort of thing.
It's hard to question something, though, when its mouth has been shot off.
I will concede that point.
Very well. So as you make your way down the corridor, the light starts to generate, light starts to reflect more and more down the corridor, and all of the contraptions and wires start to come more to light. You see there all some kinds of interfacing cables, all kinds of data cables, all kinds of connecting cables just running down, but all elaborately organized and cataloged. They seem in very, very good order, even though it's very cluttered. And as the light picks up, you see a larger chamber opening up towards the end of the corridor. And within the chamber, you see people moving around, humanoids and augmented humanoids. Now, this seems pretty standard to you, Angelson. You've been responsible as House Life for manufacturing many biological organisms, and the humanoids, or beings ordered on every lunar cycle by the House of Love, are geared towards maintenance purposes. So they all have extensive and heightened nervous systems that are built to accept augmentations, particularly mechanical augmentations. But what they do with those nervous structures and what they put in them is unknown to you. However, you do recognize the basic humanoid forms as ones that you have generated. And so in this area, construction and habitation seems to be going on as normal, at least the ones that you can spy at the moment. Are you being sneaky in your approach, or are you just...
No, I'm calling out for anyone who will happily talk to us. We're looking for...
Okay, you make the last few meters to a point where you can now see the entire room, and it opens up into a large chamber. This chamber is big enough to work on a particularly large machine that, in fact, is being assembled in the center of the room. So you are particularly interested, Aurora Shanks, because the kind of apparatus that they're putting into place in this large machine seems remarkably similar to the apparatus in the probe spire, which is the primary artifice of perception and the primary artifice for perceiving what is ahead, what is behind, the stars, and all of the environments, scanning everything in the environment. All of the juicy sensor equipment is kept in it. And this looks remarkably similar to that, but a much more compact version.
I'm going to try
About
and engage with it.
100 people. Well, it's huge. It's in the center of the room, a room about 100 meters long, 30 meters wide, and maybe 50 small thralls start moving around.
Wow.
Or will not start, but are moving around studiously working on this machine. As you enter into the room, presenting yourselves, one of the people who has a large augmentation on their head and a few large sensors and some extra spindles coming out of their arms, so notices you and approaches. Looks at you confused, looks at all of you, looks very intimidated by Arenalt here, and almost in awe of Angelson. It's like, and pulls out a small keypad, and then starts pressing it. Looking at you earnestly as it does so. Make a linguistics roll, please.
Yeah. Linguistic, it starts with L.
Language.
Oh, whatever it is, I rolled an 8. So.
Hello. What can I do for you, Your Eminence?
Good. We're looking. First of all, do you understand me?
Dice now, sorry. I totally forgot this was going to happen.
I'm going to walk straight past because these are just thralls, and thralls are like furniture. So while you're having this conversation, I'm just going to go straight to the
Okay,
machine.
you start to walk past, and many of the people just move out of your way in awe of your presence here.
As they should.
The thrall looks at you and sort of looks left and right and looks back at the keyboard and goes, I'm sorry, I cannot understand you. What can I do to help you, Your Eminence?
And then I use my very, very well-developed negotiating skills when language is a problem, and I act out the ship, and I act out it not working and shuddering.
Okay, give me a performance roll or a mime roll.
Oh, no, I really want to see this too.
If there's no performance, can I do persuasion?
Yeah, you can do persuasion.
That's a success.
A small group of thralls gather in awe of your performance, watching you as you cut slick geometric shapes with your body. And they seem to follow. And then they look at each other, and they hold up the keypad again. Start pointing in like binaries, and give me a psychology roll.
Psychology. Killing it. That's 11 under 60.
It seems like they're trying to stall you.
To stall me.
Yeah, like they're deliberately not understanding.
I'm going to up my power spikes and stare them down.
Large energy radiating spines protrude from your various shoulder pads.
And I'm going to stare them down in my angriest face and make sure they know that I am not tolerant of delays.
Give me an intimidation, please.
If there's no intimidation, can I do fast talk?
It's not really fast.
No, it's not really fast talk.
Give me a strength roll.
Oh no, it is 15. So no, fail.
Okay, they seem to all shrug their shoulders and look back at you, and now they all pull out their own little pads with the beep up beeps on them and start pushing the buttons. And now a cacophony of beep up beep noises are going on right now as they try and engage with you.
All right, they're clearly lower life forms.
Angelson, what are you up to while this is happening?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be trying to look at sort of the augmentations that they've made to the humanoids that we've provided to them to see if I can figure out, like, if they really don't understand what we're doing here or that something's wrong,
Okay.
see what their intelligence level is.
Okay. Yep. Give me a what science would you like to use?
Biology?
Okay. Yeah. Give yourself a biology roll. You're really not understanding the mechanical side of the interface.
Yeah.
This is the problem. You understand how sensitive they are and how they're reacting to it, but you can't quite get what these specific devices are doing. It all seems kind of generic to you. But give me a spot hidden roll. Okay, cool. You're not quite sure, but there is some kind of chemical structure built in, or some kind of chemical augmentation that they have to their bodies that is somehow changing their brain chemistry.
I summon my masseuse off my shoulders. Say, Angelson is stressed as it is affecting the performance.
Is it a small drone?
Sort it out. It's a person who's been holding onto my pack.
Okay.
Betholt, what is going on?
Honestly, I can't speak much of them. They seem to be stalling us. From what, I cannot tell you. But I think we should find out.
Machine.
Okay, so you examine the machine. Just give me an education roll on this one. Education stat. You look over the machine. From what you can figure out, it just seems like it's an identical replacement in miniature to the primary probe spire that is mounted on the head of the ship. It seems to have all the same capabilities, like an exact replica, but micronized.
Is it a working replica?
Seems like it's not far off.
You know, practice outside.
From what you can tell, it seems complete.
This is exactly like the spire at the top.
Well, what's it doing out here? Shouldn't it be at the top?
Maybe the one at the top's broken and they're making a new one.
Well, but doesn't it need to be at the top?
Is it a redundant spare?
What is it looking at?
As you're examining it more closely, a group of these small House of Love thralls start rushing over to you and encouraging you to move away from the machine. They seem to be less afraid of your status as important people of the houses.
Wait, yeah, that is no way to treat someone. And I try to like...
No.
You're still surrounded by a bunch of people. The cacophony is just drowning you out.
I will walk up to the bunch that is drowning out everyone. I will pick up one of them gently. You're out of the way, nerds. Shoo them away.
Okay, and what do you do with the one that you pick up with your large hand? Okay, you put it to the side. It sort of like wails around, and it's got a small light spanner that is banging on your arm. The rest of them...
Deflected with muscles?
Yes, absolutely. But it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Is there an interface to this that I recognize?
Yes, there is a console, a recognizable console.
All right, well, I'm going to see, and I'm going to interface with it and see if it's able to sense some of the local astronomy in our area and see if it's accurately working, because obviously I work on that a lot. So I'm going to do an astrology roll.
Yeah, of course.
50 pulse.
Okay, so you go up to it, you start interfacing with the console, you hit the basic buttons, you bring up the displays, and from what you can see, it is working just fine. It seems to be acting as even an override to the probe spire. As if the actual information, well, you're getting like legitimate readings of your atmosphere, but of the environment and the astrological area they've been passing through. But give me a spot hidden roll.
No.
Something is off. You can't put a finger on it. There's something off about these readings.
Yep, definitely.
Something they don't relate to.
Right.
But at this point, you don't get much time before a horde of 20 of these things, so 10 of them are around you, just trying to distract you, and 20 of them now rush over to you and start physically trying to push you away. Is anyone going to do anything about this?
I will move on in and activate some stun fingers.
You start sending electric shocks through them. They also
back.
they all act in fear and radiate away from you as you wade through the environment.
So this is exactly like the spire at the top, and it seems to be overriding it.
Overriding it?
So Angelson, they're also kind of hassling you. They're just sort of creating a little cordon around you Do you want to get closer to your friends or move away?
I think I'm pretty interested by how close they are to me, so
Okay.
I'm just kind of taking the opportunity to still,
A
prod
poke
them
and
a
prod?
little bit, yeah.
Okay, cool. Give me another just education roll, please. Yep. Okay, so you're most interested by these chemical implants that they have. It seems like a series of tubes and chambers, and there is an unknown chemical that they have that is stored in these chambers that seems to be pumping directly into their neural core.
I'm good with chemicals.
Do you want to come and taste this?
Sure.
Well, they're all pushing up against you. They're like trying to get you away from this console, keeping you away from the screen. And then, of course, Renault, some energy power. These guys are beep, 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 beep,
Oh my gosh. This is going nowhere. Should we be leaving? You said that thing overrided. If it's overriding, are we still? Can we get a feed from the actual thing? I don't know how these things work.
Are we still travelling in the direction we were meant to go?
Well, you're not sure.
No. Look, I think maybe we need to go the other direction to find out what the green light is. Because-
Anything to get out of here, so...
And, maybe after we've explored here, we can check the top, or even we could send the masseuse up to ask someone who's, got a better idea of what's going on.
It's not covered in the masseuse's contract.
Maybe we need to find...
And we would be masseuseless.
True, this is true.
Also, the insurance policies, it really just... It'll be a nightmare. So much paperwork, it's not worth it. Keep the masseuse.
Stress is the silent killer.
All right, let's go the other way then. And you were saying chemicals?
Yeah, maybe we could see if we can find the source of the chemicals that's controlling them, and then if whatever's controlling them may have a sense of why this is now happening.
Yeah.
Why they're controlling the direction of the ship, overriding the powers that be upstairs.
Yes, because they don't know what they're doing down here.
Or do they?
No, they clearly
not.
don't.
So at this point, you're just clearing the room of these creatures because they keep constantly trying to get in the way of Baral. They're kindly throwing themselves at Aurora, and eventually they just sort of freak out and they look at each other and they look confused and they stop hitting their little keypads to try and communicate with you, and instead they're starting to get on their little communication devices and backing out of the room.
Can I roll psychology?
Mission accomplished.
No, 94.
Yeah, you're not sure. Maybe they're talking to their friends. Maybe they're in distress.
All right, well, now they're out of the way. Can we get into the machines more?
And have another go. Less distracting.
So you take a little bit more time. You don't need to roll for it. But give me a education roll again.
Oh, my
Give me an
God.
astronomy roll.
Yes, success! Just keep giving me skills and I'll keep trying.
It's all right. Look, you are looking again. You're looking at the stars and looking at the stars, and based on your last reading of the star charts, this doesn't make sense. This is not the environment that the standard sensor probe, this replacement, this auxiliary sensor probe, is not giving the same readings that the sensor probe that you're keyed into is giving you. And what disturbs you most about this is that this sensor probe is showing the sign of a large black hole, not more than 10 light years from your location.
Well, then clearly this is broken. I don't think it's working properly. Because it's saying there's a black hole, and that's the last reading I did, there was no black hole, and I am always right.
Could we, and I take your hand, potentially, and I know this could be hard for you, but there have been some strange occurrences on this ship. Maybe, possibly, could we be actually by a black hole?
No.
I put a finger by your lips. And I just go, just take another moment. Just really breathe it in, breathe it out. Could we possibly, and I come really close, be by a black hole?
Now that I come to think of it, maybe I was a little tired the last time I took readings. I mean, or someone else could have, mucked around with the machine. Not clearly, I was not wrong, but maybe there might be a black hole.
You'd
Maybe
never
we've
be wrong.
moved.
You'd never be wrong. It's not about you being wrong. It's about the world around you lying to you. That's not you being wrong.
This is much more accurate. Yes, there's a possibility.
There's a possibility, so I think we should investigate it. Yes, well, I've run out of things to talk to, so should we move on?
I wouldn't mind looking into. Does it seem like there's some sort of coordination around the way that they're moving?
Yes, they're currently backing out of the room. It seems like there are 3 key points that they're trying to protect. One is kind of they're trying to stay in between Aurora and the sensory platform, which obviously they're failing at doing because Renault is electrifying anyone who tries to get near it. And then they also seem to be covering the exit that you came through from the corridor. Apart from that, 2 or 3 of them are around the room, spaced out in various areas, just keeping an eye on, and seem to be going back and forth communicating with outside sources. They seem to be waiting for something to happen.
Well, I know I don't read people very often or Thrall. Maybe we need to go back that way.
Yes. Also, should we tell anyone about this black hole incident?
Do we trust anyone else other than each other?
Of course, we trust other people. I trust him. I trust them. So obviously there are people to trust.
Well, obviously Malon will know what to do, I'm sure. Maybe we could send a message up through the system.
Yes.
And pass on this information.
Okay. Is any of our...
Well, to the navigators. Obviously, we might get the navigators onto it. So,
well, that's your department, obviously.
Yes. So, is there some way of communicating from here? I've never been here
yeah, typically there is. You guys could just get to a console, but you didn't bring any of your communication thralls with you.
Oh.
Look, I'll find out whose irresponsibility is...
If you could just get to a main console, you could probably just get up there. There's one over on the wall just there.
I could touch it. I could maybe use it. I mean, all right, I think I have to do it. I'm going to go over and use that console.
Okay, cool. So you approach the console, you engage with it. At this point, you're about to open it up, and you see that there are communication channels available to you to various parts of the ship. It seems like from here there are communication channels available to all parts of the ship, which in and of itself is unusual because most other ecologies don't have communication with each other. But this one, House Love, does. Maybe it's just a maintenance thing. Regardless, it's at this point that you hear a large amount of heavy metal footsteps as the opposite side of the chamber, where you see 2 large doors open, this is not the way you came from, and a group of big humanoid machine standing 8 feet tall, maybe 7 of them, carrying powerful laser scalpels, the kind that you use to disassemble ships in a hurry. Now, enter the room, and then some of the little thralls who are standing up in the rafters sort of come to life and start communicating with their little beep panels to these guys and pointing down at your group.
Look, do I need to roll psychology to know that they're a threat?
They're pointing at the machine, right? They come to disassemble the machine because it's not meant to be here?
Can I roll psychology?
Of course you can.
29 under 60.
Yep, they definitely see you as a discernible threat and they're coming to cut you into pieces.
Arnott.
Please commence exit.
Yeah, okay. Let's commence exit. Exit the way we came.
A few thralls stand in your way, trying to block your exit from the room, but and the electricity jolts them back. They slam against the wall, impacting and sliding down.
Oh.
As you make your way, is there anything you want to grab before you leave?
If there's some splatters, maybe I'll take a bit of a swab from the wall.
Yeah, you see that one of the heads is splattered against the wall, and a few of these augmentations have been separated.
Yeah, I'll take a swab.
You quickly grab or swab some of the chemicals, put it in your little kit that you have with you, and move on down the corridor. You make haste as you hear these guys clanking in behind you. They don't seem to move as quickly as you do. You're all adept and well-equipped.
Yep. Naturally.
I get some more medical enhancement to make me faster.
Okay, cool. your body fills with adrenaline, and you pick up the pace. Of course, you're finding this all very easy, Angelson. As the most genetically pure and advanced specimen in the room, you're able to keep pace with any of these people, regardless of their mechanical augmentations. You make your way down the corridor. You come once more to the lift access hatch that you came through into this area, and then continue on down the corridor.
Yep.
And you come around, and the green light continues until eventually you see a closed door ahead of you.
Does anyone know how to open doors?
No.
Okay. Oh, yes?
I will wrench it open physically with my mechanically enhanced arms.
Give me a strength roll.
Maybe. Not quite.
Okay. Grinding and scraping of metal, but even this bulkhead seems to be too hard for you to open.
Is there like some sort of console next to it that might...
Yeah, it's a bit foreign to you. Opening doors is usually something other people do.
Yeah, but I maybe, like, if we just do these little bits and buttons, like...
Is there a...
I have locksmith.
Okay, excellent. You attempt to engage the control panel.
No. I've never
Like,
really used it. It's theoretical.
Is there
You look back there, dun, 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 crunching at the footsteps raging in behind you.
is there any like communication panel by the door?
There was a console just a few meters back.
I will go to that console and try to communicate to anyone behind the door.
Okay, cool. Give me a... Just give me a roll. Let's see how you go.
Rolls have
percentile.
not been kind.
46.
The screen flickers. A small hologram of a very helpful-looking thrall comes up and starts spinning on the spot. It indicates that something is being hit with a hammer.
Okay.
Maybe pick up one of the thralls and wave it in front of the sensor and see if it works.
Sound is getting closer of these footsteps.
Like a scan card.
Look, should we be moving out of the... Is there anywhere else to go apart from this door?
There's a floor. It's a graded floor. There's a... You look around. Give me a spot hidden roll. Everybody can make one if you like.
No.
No.
Oh, please.
High would be great. No.
You do not see any other exits from this corridor apart from the way you came. What would you like to do?
Can I pull out my swab and just like rub it on the door?
Okay, cool. Give me a luck roll. Something gives. You're not quite sure what, but
I rub harder.
a button moves and rotates, and it seems like as you rotate, the door continues to open. Some kind of rotating, maybe it's magic.
Oh, no, I read about this, using bodily fluids to, as a marker to show you entrance.
Okay, just go through the door. Through the door.
You now see them coming around the corner. Their laser scalpels spring to life as they see you.
Can we close the door? Is there a swab for
So
that?
you rush through the door.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
enough
yeah.
for you now to fit
We're
it.
just going
Rub
through
it in
that
the
door.
other direction.
You go to the other side and you see a similar panel, also a circle. As you push it and rotate, it rotates in the same way. And you get it, and the door's finally closed. This laser scalpel just beams through the door and starts cutting.
Keep going down the corridor. Yes.
Okay, you start rushing. You find yourself in a large chamber now. This is almost as big as the previous one where you found the sensory probe being built or attached into the ship. But this is a vaulted room full of endless vats of various chemical compounds. Some of them seem similar to the chemical that you came across going into the brain stems of these thralls, but then the bulk of the chemical seems to be something else. As you're running past them, Aurora, you get a kind of tingle. It strikes you as very similar to something that's been quite popular for the last 6 months.
I could take a sample.
Yeah, sure. There are some dispensaries attached to these large vats, possibly for
Excellent.
testing the produce.
Excellent. I will test the produce as well, just to make sure it's the same stuff.
Oh, yes, you grab a thing as you're running, put it into your onboard chemical receiving station.
Nothing could go wrong here.
Oh my god, it's very pure. Give me a power roll.
All right, where's my power? Oh, look, I really wish that 94 was the magic number because that's the third one I have rolled.
Low.
I know. Look, it's a fail, surprisingly.
Okay, so as normally happens with this particular substance, all of the blackness starts radiating lights. Starts turning, and this radiant light starts just rolling out of every black spot. But then as you keep running and you're running, your feet start to give out. And it feels like you're not even touching the floor anymore.
Ooh.
And then you feel a hard smack as your chin and nose collide with the metal grates on the ground. And you're pulling a very jelly-like attempt to stand up and raise yourself from the floor, but your muscles are giving out. And every time you look around, you sort of look through the grate and between the gaps of the grate down into the blackness, light everywhere, and the blackness starts spiraling out.
I've got something for this. I've got something for this.
You guys all see Aurora collapse.
I know. Can you pick her up? Pick them up?
Picking up Aurora.
I
Come
have first
on.
aid. I would like to provide some kind of aid.
Okay, yep. So you immediately stop. You see that they've suffering from some kind of extreme reaction to a chemical. Give me a medicine roll.
The first aid one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, medicine.
Either. Yep.
Yeah.
94? It's a lucky number.
Boys and girls, salt test your dice. Air bubbles are real. All right, so they collapse to the ground. And they're twitching and they're looking at you, and what's really confusing you at the moment is the various other injection devices on their body that sort of are going into their nervous system and providing chemical aids. But give me a first aid roll.
No. 7's my number.
It is glorious. You're just not sure how to help this individual.
All right, surely, given the amount of chemicals that I take, I have like an automatic machine that kicks in, which goes,
Yep.
that's the wrong kind of chemical.
Okay, so first, give me a power roll in order to communicate this.
All right, hang on. I'm not rolling this one. Oi, 50 plus.
5.
Oh, it's 5. It's even better. No, I'm
The emergency button on the belt.
Push button.
You get flooded with an antitoxin that rushes through your system. You feel like you're not seizing anymore, but even now, with the high concentration of that chemical in your system, you're looking into the blackness, and all those points of blackness seem to be filled with radiant light still, but your body is functioning again.
I don't even know how those things are doing it with that in their system.
But you do recognize, well, both of you recognize this, because you can see the effects of the chemical, and you can, sort of a basic diagnostic. You know that, obviously, House of Stars, they take a lot of augmenting substances in order to be able to understand and think extra-dimensionally about how to move the ship in quantum space, because the drive that moves the ship is a miniature representation of the known universe, and by moving elements inside of that, they're able to move the ship as a reaction throughout the universe. However, recently, this new chemical called drive has been introduced to their community, which is somewhat recreational, but they use it because they believe it allows them to see the negative space between stars, the dark matter, and in doing so, create an entirely new way to map the inverse galaxies that they encounter.
That was a lot more intense than my last run.
Yeah. Much more intense. This is concentrated. And this is probably where they make it and supply it. You hear the doors come down. It looks like they're almost done. But You see off to the side of this large chamber, and you have made considerable distance away from these people, there is a set of smaller offices and console banks where you see more of these thralls working. Not the larger guys, just the small little dudes. They seem to be oblivious to you at the moment.
Shall we access the console?
Yes. This is not a navigational one, though.
This is not a navigation console. This seems to be consoles that are related to monitoring and creating and documenting the chemicals that are here in this factory, as it were.
Shall we talk to them?
After you.
Beings, thralls. Hello.
Okay, so you walk up to the room, the door opens automatically as you approach, and you come into another chamber where these people are on a circular console. It's about a 10-meter wide room. The console scans the outside, and the people are... I'll look up to you. They're very surprised at the presence of your amazing forms here.
Yes, we are truly incredible, as I levitate. And I say to them, and I do my charades again of the ship not working.
Okay. They look at each other. They're rather confused, and they shrug their shoulders.
Damn, these are even dumber than the last ones.
And they pull out their little control panels.
Oh,
and you've got a gist of this at the moment. The binary lingo's kind of sunk in, and they're like, we're sorry, we're experiencing no problems here. Can we help you?
Yes, you can help me. For we do see some problems. So you're not in trouble. No one's in trouble. We're just investigating. We'd like to get to know you, get to know what's going on.
Could you maybe mime black hole for them? Maybe they know something about that?
Yes, apparently there's a black hole situation.
Okay, so the concepts that you're trying to convey via mime are rather too abstract for their poor little brains to comprehend.
2 words. First word.
All right, okay. I get down on their level.
Okay.
I find one of them and I get down on their level. I just look deep into its soul. And I communicate one very clear thing, which is we friend. Stop scary. And then I gesture behind us. Hopefully.
Okay, cool. At this point, they're just... they're not quite sure.
All right.
Is there a console to talk to the top? Because I didn't really get that message.
Yeah,
through.
There are a lot of consoles in the room. One of them seems to be a broader communication console, and it seems to be patched into a lot of the ship from the feed that you see just rolling across the screen.
Right, so
you notice that there are other feeds rolling across the screen, some of which are chemical data and information that you can recognize aspects of. Just genetic stuff in particular.
All right, so I'm going to send a message up about the black hole because I feel like we need to re-navigate this ship so that it's not maybe going in it.
Okay. So
Ideally.
Maybe? I mean, not that there is the black hole, but potentially if there was.
You've got such good ideas.
Thanks.
That's all right.
So you jump on the console and you get a message up to, you can access, who do you want to talk to?
Oh, Malon.
Okay.
Straight to the top.
So it's, hi. Hello. Aurora. My goodness. It's so nice to hear from you. The power's been down up here and we're all just getting about in the dark.
Oh.
It's rather confusing, but I can tell you that it's very beautiful up here.
I imagine it is. Look, can you just check the navigation? I'm not sure, but there's some sort of device down here that's very much like the probe spire, and it came up with a reading to say that we are very near a black hole.
I can't really have a look at it right now, as it's all kind of off. It's just a bit off up here, you know. It's kind of just gone. But I I'm looking out here through the top of the Crystal Palace. I can see beautiful lights, such amazing lights radiating from the sky. It's beautiful. You have to see this. It's amazing. I mean, God, I wish you were here. Where are you, Aurora?
I don't even know, but it is really far away.
That's deep, Aurora. That's really deep. That's why I've always felt an amazing respect for you.
Yeah. I feel like this could be something that you really need to try, though, to maybe ask someone else.
Well, we've been putting a call in for the technicians to come up and get a handle on it, but we haven't really been able to contact many representatives from House Love lately. Have you had any luck on your quest?
Well, the representatives we seem to be speaking to don't speak anything recognizable.
Did you take the translator with you?
Yes, but it was broken.
Oh, really? I'm sorry to hear that. He's such a good chap normally.
Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed, yes, that he broke down very quickly.
But I tell you what, we're going towards great places. I'm up here and I'm looking, the whole sky is filled with lights, beautiful lights, the colors, you wouldn't believe.
Have you been taking some of the drive? Because I just tasted some of the purest drive I have.
Oh, really? Yeah. When am I not?
This is true. Okay, I'm just going to leave that with you now. I've got to maybe try and talk to some of these
Thanks,
things.
Aurora. I really feel we're on the edge of a really important breakthrough right now.
Yes.
We're going to great places here, seeing amazing things. If only we can get power back to the ship.
Ooh, yes, that would be good too.
Are we out of power?
When did we get out of power? Well, the lights went out, but the lights are just out, right? It's not everything else.
Well, we're not getting much up here at the moment. We're running on emergency supplies.
Are we moving still?
Oh, yes. We're moving to the colors. The beautiful, radiant colors shining out. This Pegasus Cluster, it really is a special place. Such cosmic phenomenon that we've never seen before.
It does sound very exciting.
I wish you were here, Aurora. I miss you so deeply.
Well, okay. I will try and get back as soon as I can.
Please do.
Can I use the same console?
You can, but meanwhile...
I'm sorry.
Angelson.
Yes, so I'm looking at all of the data that's being transmitted, and I'm wondering if I can somehow get that sent back to House of Life.
You could potentially create a feed that goes back up. It seems like there's definitely a console feed from here to all parts of the ship.
Yeah.
So you access it, and you want information from some of your thralls who are operating some of the chemical stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to know what kind of messages, like if there's any like neural messages that it has within its properties.
Okay.
If it's actually communicating somehow.
So you send a bunch of information back, and they basically, he's like, oh, hello. Oh, Angelson. Oh, very good to hear from you. How are you going on your quest? This is just one of the senior thralls.
Well, I'm not actually sure at the moment. We're not getting a lot of information down here. All we know is that there's no power upstairs, which sounds terrible.
Yes, most of the power is shut down. It seems we're all managing our own ecologies, but the overall ship power and the power to the Crystal Palace seems to be lacking at the moment.
Yes, we are trying to figure out why that is. We found a replica of the probe spire down here, and it seems to be interfering with the sensors of the real probe spire and maybe sending us towards a black hole. And I'm wondering if there's some sort of
really that's terrible. Do you need any kind of aid? Where are you? I can send down a consultancy team, perhaps a psychologist, to talk you through this.
That I would really appreciate that, and also send some grapes if you could.
We'll try and ship it over. We've had a lot of problems talking to House Love. We seem to be out of communication with them, though. But I can get you an online person who can talk to you through this console now if you need some kind of emergency consultancy.
Yes, please.
Okay, great, awesome. I'll just get Patrick for you.
Hi, Patrick. Are you there?
Yes. This is Patrick. Hey, Angelson. How you doing?
I'm feeling quite stressed at the moment, and I haven't had any grapes in like an hour.
I really feel you. We all need grapes. They keep us regular.
They do.
And they're sweet. It's the best of all foods. But this stress, what do you feel the source of it is?
I'm really unsure. The closer I've gotten to these chemicals, it feels like the more stressed I get. I don't know if that's just that's just me or.
No, look, I think that you're really hitting on a sore spot for us, because as House Love, we value genetic purity, and the only real chemicals that should be going through your body are the ones that you choose to introduce to your system. Gosh. The ones that are naturally induced by the genes and the structures that we put in the basic genetic makeup of your body. These outside chemicals, even being around them, their auras will penetrate you in ways that will make you feel uncomfortable. You need to build up your interior psychic defense network.
I'm feeling very...
Center yourself. Take control of your situation and do what feels natural to you. Together, I have a team of people who can arm with you. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh, I swear, if you do not hang up right now,
See how it radiates through all of your team members. And again.
I just slide some medication over to you.
I take it. Take as much and as fast as I can.
I find this much more therapeutic.
Okay, thank you. Someone has some sense.
So we seem to not be able to access your remote communications right now. I won't be able to travel with you. If there's anything else that you need before we leave you?
Just the grapes, please.
Okay, we can send you images of grapes. We'll put them across the screen now. And the screen with all the genetic data and the chemical information now is filled with images of grapes.
Can she be kicked off?
No, you guys have access to the other console. So meanwhile, trying hard to block out the sound of
I'm contacting the first people. I contact my power squad again.
Okay, cool. Hello, hey, Bethel. How are you doing?
Yes, obviously the situation is a lot more dire than we originally suspected. Can you please get the translator?
Yes. Look, we found that he seems to be no longer self-isolated, but he seems to be forcefully locked in the room.
By who?
We're not entirely sure. The mechanism of the door seems to be locked shut, and we don't really have the expertise to circumnavigate that kind of structure.
All right. Does anyone else know about this?
Well, look, we can't really get in touch with the people at the head. The power's all shut down in the Crystal Palace, and we're down here just trying to make the best of what we can do in the ecologies, where we have our own power still running, but it seems to be a finite supply. The generators themselves, they're slightly faulty. We're not sure how long they'll last.
All right, well, this is totally unacceptable work. Fix it. And then I hang up.
That's been an unfortunate performance review.
Oh my gosh. So...
Now, not to stress out Angelson, but I believe House Love may have gone rogue. I believe we need to make our way up.
Yep.
To find somebody that we can communicate with.
Look, if we can get my translators locked somewhere, if we can get to them, I would find that very useful.
We might need to take out that machine a little bit, though, so that we can get back up to the top and steer this thing properly, because otherwise someone's going to have to steer it from here.
Can we just whack it, like, real hard?
These disassembler robots could probably do a great job. Maybe we could use it as armor.
The disassembly robots seem to have continued down the main corridor and have missed your location.
Now, ordinarily, I would think that would be a fantastic idea.
But you still hear them stomping around in this area, searching for you.
However, we've got to work on the possibility that this is the only functional sensor suite. And if we whack that, we're plumb out of luck.
This seems reasonable. I will accept this.
It goes against the nature of House Arms to not blow shit up. But we can make it through it.
I'm really proud of the steps you've made today.
However, I do want to go and whack one of those robots.
Oh,
Get
do
a
we?
laser scalpel.
We can't whack a robot. Are you going to whack the robot?
His guns.
Go whack the robot.
This laser scalpel will help with any number of obstacles that we encounter.
Okay, you go and whack that robot, and you bring us back the laser scalpel.
I will predator style go and isolate one from the group, making little bleep bloop sounds occasionally to lure it off.
Give me a commando-style stealth roll.
I will spend some luck on that one.
Okay.
The performance review.
And yes, that is a pass.
You find yourself at the top of a chemical vat, leering over the projected path of one of these large 8-foot tall robots with the laser scalpels. It's like comes in, searching, and at the right time.
My masseuse makes a noise down the corridor,
Uh-huh.
and then I drop behind it.
The masseuse is like, spills some massage oil across the floor. Spill. Starts moving. Okay, give me a strength roll. You just collapse, descend upon it.
Pass.
Crack. You rip its head clean off the chassis.
Excellent. I take the laser scalpel.
Give me a luck roll.
Perfect.
As the laser scalpel barely misses one of the large chemical vats, then collapses to the floor. You pick it up
Excellent.
and attach it to your arsenal. Returning
Call
to the
my
group.
masseuse back.
It runs back to you across the floor. Meanwhile, back in the control chamber.
So just some logistics here. If the lift is broken, how do we get up?
I'm guessing my levitation doesn't go that far.
No, not particularly. But you guys are either halfway down or potentially further, depending on how faulty the lift was. You do know that further down, if you go down the lift shaft, you might be able to get to the primary defense hangars where a lot of ships are, and you could potentially travel outside the ship to the top area, or you could try and simply climb back up the shaft. But
I vote not climbing back up the shaft, personally.
No, I don't think we should do that. Now, can I, just theoretically, all these bits of furniture, the thralls, arrive just like this. They just appear magically behind walls. Is there something behind there that we could use?
I don't know.
Like you had this magical wall thing that we could walk through that, suddenly we were in this section of the ship, then we didn't have to use the main ways.
It was a door.
Yep, that thing. So, do they have like little doors?
Little doors.
I clump back into the room, brandishing a laser scalpel.
Maybe find out where these thralls get through.
He's not totally incompetent, He's quite... Has his moments. All right, well, shall we take through one of these doors? Can you take us back up through your area outside the ship?
another vibration starts ringing through the ship. It continues like that.
Is this
Seems to
another
be
way
going-
of those things communicating?
It's a vibration that's fundamentally going through every aspect of the ship's superstructure. Not this room, not this environment. It's deep. You can feel it.
There are thralls in this room, aren't there?
Yeah, they're just trying to do their work around you.
Can I just point to do a little performance of vibrations?
It sort of pulls up a little screen and is like the noise. So it's something is obviously happening that you can relate to this small, insignificant thrall.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it pushes a button and a image comes up of the ship and the top of the ship and a series of mechanisms that exist around the docking ring, between the docking ring and the defensive ring. and it looks like the whole top section of the ship is slowly rotating. Give me a spot hidden roll.
Hold on.
Is it like a revolving restaurant?
Very much so, yes, of course.
So you can enjoy the view a lot more. as you go around.
Yeah,
You're not
especially
stuck with the same
if
lot of
there are the
stars.
colors that your master is talking about up
Yeah.
there, it would be amazing to be able to view them in a revolving sense.
Herbie,
I don't think there's a problem anymore. I feel like this is fine. We just need to go up and enjoy the view.
I've rolled brilliantly, and please give me a spot hidden as a success.
Excellent. That's really great. I'm really excited to hear it. So, as you're talking about the wonders of viewing the wonderful colors that are currently projecting out of space, you
Malon,
realize
is that
that the top part of the ship is unscrewing like a bottle.
It's not ideal.
And then one of the other thralls looks over and sees this and runs over with a large wrench and smacks the thrall who's showing it to you over the head. His teeth and eyes explodes from his shattered skull across the console as he lifts it up again and smashes it into the console. It breaks. And then he pushes a button on the side of the head, and his veins start filling up with a viscous black liquid, and then his eyes rupture as he collapses to the ground, choking on viscous black ichor. The rest of the thralls run out of the room screaming.
That's some serious discipline in here.
Classically not a good sign.
No.
I would like to go over and scoop up as much of that brain as I can.
Okay, you bring out your sample jars.
All of them.
You reluctantly tear yourself away from the beauty of grapes as depicted on your screen and mosey on over, picking up your sample, and your elegant form reaches down and picks up a sample of the brain matter. You can see it's been corrupted by one of the chemicals that's in the vat. It seems the chemical is doing something to their brains, but an overdose of this chemical seems to cause this reaction. Like there's a suicide response built in almost every one of these thralls. You're not sure how expansive it is. Maybe it's just this sector.
So, what's the plan?
I declare this as a full coup in action.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find whatever passes for the head of House Love and mechanically separate it.
Is it a coup, or is it just trying to see the beauty in where
No,
we're going?
it's a coup.
It's unscrewing the top of the ship so all of the ship comes out.
But it's really pretty.
No, it's. I take Aurora's hands again. It's a coup.
Okay.
Okay.
Angelson, all of the grapes will fall out. There will be no more grapes.
Yeah, no, I'm not about this at all.
Good.
So I think if we can get up, I think we should try to get our translator. He knows the most about this culture. If anything, they may be able to help find who to talk to.
Where exactly is your translator?
Easy. Up where? Up?
He's in your ecology.
In my ecology.
In your ecology.
Yes.
Okay.
So you could theoretically, if you can get to any of the hangars, you could theoretically fly straight across to the bottom of your ecology and then go up into there. And it seems like you still have power there, and at least in that ecology, you'd be able to communicate to people. The biggest problem your house being a house love is the subdivisions and the clan dialects.
Yeah. I reckon we should go to that ecology. Worst case scenario, we can keep flying the ship to the where it's unscrewing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to collect a little bit more of the drive to take with me, but I'm not going to inject it this time.
The dry. Oh yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, the chemicals.
Yeah.
Good chemicals.
Yeah. You get the good chemicals, you stock up, you put them in a special receptacle that you have,
Yeah.
and you guys make your way. So the chaos of these guys running out of the room seems to be, again, distracting these deconstruction bots, but they are still about, and you'll have to be careful. Mm-hmm. So where are you going from here?
I will lead the way back to the entrance hatch to the lift.
To the lift, yep.
And we will go through the lift car to the underneath, and it's a simple matter of a kilometre deep base jump. And then we touch down, get a craft, fight our way out, park over in the House of Face, get a translator, and then threaten people. Lots and lots and lots of threatening.
Talking.
You say potato.
Can we do it without the kilometre base jump fall?
No. It's a long...
I think Angelson should go first for that.
After a short break, I would love to go first.
No, of course you bloody would. All right, let's go.
Okay, so who would like to lead on the stealth roll to avoid these robots? Or the other option is just to make a straight luck roll.
That's not
I definitely
my
just
field.
didn't spend a lot of luck.
I've still got luck, and I feel lucky with
Why did
these
I give you my
dice,
dice?
because they're
Not great.
not as lucky as I would like them to. Can I spend luck to get? No, I'm not going to be able to get under luck if I spend luck.
You guys walk out into the corridor and suddenly they're all on you again. You're back in the chase scenario. You run and run and run. So as you're moving very quickly away, you are... I'd like you to... What mechanisms are you engaging to move as quickly as possible? Obviously, you're fine. You're moving very, very fast. You're fine. You're like genetically superior. You have your levitation devices.
I need some more adrenaline.
You kick in the adrenaline.
Yeah.
And they don't have projectiles. They are just chasing after you. So you manage to get to the access hatch to the elevator. You quickly climb up and dive in there and then go out the bottom hatch, which you're familiar with because this is your jurisdiction. It's the primary defense network that goes around the entire outside of the ship. So you have a network of tunnels that you can access. But this access hatch goes straight into space. This is what you were talking about, the base jump. You just like jump out and then project down.
What a view, though. What a view.
Or you can slam out the bottom and go down the lift shaft.
We have complimentary face masks, right?
You have face masks. You came equipped, so so long as you don't stay in space, you are genetically superior, so you could last in space for about a minute before it gets to your body. You have...
I've probably got some medication that'll I can die, and then you can bring me back to life.
Yeah, you'll have a shot of adrenaline and antifreeze.
shutdown
If you put the antifreeze in your system, you can also survive for probably about a minute.
Yep.
I go luxury yachting in space. None of this nonsense.
You kick out the bottom of the lift shaft as well, and you could just go down the lift shaft. It just depends on...
I do have my anti-grav mechanisms that would suit me. Can we go both? Can half of us go one way, half of us the other?
Absolutely.
Well, look, to be honest, I don't know that bringing back to life is going to be as successful with everything that's been rushing through, so maybe I'll go inside.
You three go down the shaft. I will go the faster method and prepare an entrance.
All right, love it. Splitting the party. Let's do it.
Awesome. You kick out the bottom of the shaft, and you three start your descent. You're using your anti-grav mechanisms to float these two. You're fine. You can just jump back and forth down the shaft. It's super easy.
I don't even care if I can do it. I want to be carried.
Okay, cool. So you become cradled in Bethalt's arms. Large, mechanical, augmented arms. Small.
I'm really enjoying this. The only thing better would be this and the view.
Well, then just close your eyes.
Coloured lights.
Well, you do pass. Okay, yeah. So you start going down the shaft. You're descending at a rate. You open the panel into space. A barrier jumps up, and you project yourself out. Your mechanical form sealing all of the necessary pressure ports. So you jump out and start. You hit the thrusters and start descending down. You turn left, and you look up, and you see beyond the ship and the direction the ship is heading, a large, dark smear in space, pitch black. And then you see as a small streak of light goes into it and disappears, snuffed out in a second.
Now, I wasn't classically educated. But normally there's something there.
Shall we?
I should make a note of that and continue on.
Give me an intelligence roll.
Yeah, so much for this.
Should really stare into that more.
Oh, yeah. Double and 3. Yeah, no, that was terrible.
Excellent. Well, you don't really realize the gravity of your situation, so you don't have to make a sanity roll. But you descend, and eventually you guys come to a point where you guys are going, you're going much faster. So you get to the hangars, and you see the open hangar, and you see it still has emergency power going inside. So you hit the ship, and immediately it recognizes your signal, goes down, and you come in through into a large landing bay where you see 5 or 6 other ships and a few other people from the House of Arms sort of coming up, and they immediately regiment themselves into lines of 6 and bang, slam their heads really hard with their fists in order to greet your presence.
Flex at them.
They go, they flex back.
Report.
Sir, yes, sir. All systems seem to be, major systems seem to be down, especially in these areas. We're running on emergency power in the outside defense network. We're pumping it out from the power stations in the ecology of the House of Arms. But we're not sure, with all the excess power drain, how much longer we can last doing this.
Have we had reports from the Crystal Palace?
The Crystal Palace seems to be still in a certain amount of diplomatic disarray. They can't quite agree on how to act in this situation. They're waiting for vital intelligence back from your team, sir.
Very good. Secure the area. We have incoming 3 diplomats. We need them to arrive safe and sound. They may be arriving, hopefully not too fast, down that shaft.
Just the right amount of slow, thanks.
I'm never too fast.
Do we have any grapes? Check the first aid kits.
I need you to make a luck roll. I'm sorry, sir. We're all out of grapes. I'll have some sent down immediately.
Perfect.
And they go over and they open the hatch, and as you guys are coming down, you see a light spill in through the bottom, and the distinct metallic bulk of Renault's body sticking through, giving you a wave.
We come down, and I gently release Aurora onto the floor.
Floating out through the hatch into the lighter bay, slip down, your lithe form just slipping out of your arms.
I take a little bit too long to disengage. Yeah.
And then the distinct and radiant form of Angelson as their beauty steps through. All of the other soldiers in the room stop, and you see them lose their rigid posture for just 1 minute as they bask on the true beauty of genetic purity.
She's not that good looking.
So do you have a translator here?
We mostly have cannons.
Okay. They translate one thing, really.
Yes.
Yes.
From life to death,
Yeah.
says one of the soldiers. Efficiently.
All right, did you secure us a ship of some sort?
Yes, we will take the red one over there.
Very well, sir. I will set you up with a pilot.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you require?
What emergency supplies and other sundries? We are entering the House of Face.
We have brown rations, sir.
Perfect.
And medical kits and emergency termination devices.
Excellent.
Just strap them to your forehead and ready to go.
All of the above.
Excellent. And they pack a box full of the suicide headbands and emergency rations and pain editors.
Excellent.
Makes it extra painful.
There's enhancers and editors. The enhancers are just pump adrenaline into your system. And often make your heart explode. And you bundle into a sleek red ship round at the back with a hard front. A yellow line jets down the side, and number 0001.
All right, yeah.
Are you ready to go alone? Are there any thralls that you need, sir?
Do we have any translator thralls?
No, sir. That's a specialty of House Face. I suggest you requisition them.
I would require a standard 6-pack of meat shield thralls, please.
Excellent. Loading in, and then a cargo crane reaches up into a vat and pulls up a 6-pack all rung together, and then the top of the ship opens up and on ice, sir.
Fantastic. And our masseuse is tired. We require a replacement from the standard stock.
Yes, we only have drones for that.
We'll have to do.
Very well. They issue you with a standard massage drone. It's a small thing. It only works one area at a time.
We'll take 12.
Understand. You're needing of extreme relief, sir.
It is a very, very stressful period.
And you gather your things and jump into the ship.
Yep.
They let you loose the restraining bolts and you jettison out. You all look out of the hole and now you can see into the cosmos.
How does it look?
Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's full of radiant colors. You've never seen so many colors. All of the negative space that you normally map is now being engulfed by a huge spiraling vortex of amazing colors. It's entering your mind. Please make a sanity roll.
I'm not even disappointed. Oh, I am so sane.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You lose 2 points of sanity just for looking at the giant maw that is in space.
But what did I gain?
But what you see
Yes.
is infinite worlds beyond.
We don't have a problem here, people. We do not have a problem.
You look past them and see the gaping black hole sucking all stars and life in the immediate vicinity into its bottomless pit of ravenous hunger.
I'm just gonna pat that one on the head. Just gonna leave that there for the moment.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Did you not look at the way it just...
And the ship drifts out. Whereabouts are you heading to?
Please take us to the...
Wherever this translator is, in the face.
Yep, house face.
Yep.
All right, you immediately go straight across from one side to the other, seeing the shift lilt, and you can now see as well the actual rotation that's happening in the top part of the ship. Slowly.
Is there anything occurring on the compression cluster as we're flying underneath it?
It seems like it still has power, but give me a education roll, Aurora.
Yep, that's a no. No.
I could have failed that roll.
97, people, 97.
You're not sure what activity is going on, but it is still operational.
Those lights. Whew.
Oh, man.
Did they look that good when you were out jumping? Because I imagine without all that nonsense of ship in the way, they would have been extraordinary.
Look, the Pegasus Cluster is a beautiful place. It's a radiant arm of astral phenomenon that's full of all kinds of clouds and gusts and things that are going on that are really generally quite distracting and incredibly beautiful.
Missing bit, sure.
Missing bit. You've been taking the drive because all I can see is lights and colour and...
I'm only high on one thing. Mechanical separation of other sentient beings. Speaking of which, house face.
Yes, my house. Please behave yourselves. I do not want to be seen associating with anyone of any
So there are
incompetence.
there are stronger beacons that operate out of the nose of this ship if you want to send signals.
Yes, so I want to send my signal.
Yep.
Sign it with my signature, my electronic signature, and just say I am making my way
it gets
to
through to the loading bay, and they're like,
get the translator.
okay, excellent. So your power squad.
Yep.
Hello, sir. Yes. Hey, how are you doing? Very good up here. Very good. We've got some people who are definitely trying to get access to this door. You hear a whack, 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 thud, crack. Oh, Benny. Going on in the background.
All right, well, I've brought in a specialist. Arnold, do you want to...
This is happening as you're landing in the
I'm not
bay.
sure what I can do on-
And you just
Oh,
end up
okay,
on
yeah.
the ship.
So you've got...
Stick with it. That's the spirit.
all right, we'll wait till we
believe in
land.
you.
We'll assess the situation. As you know, data is everything. And then we'll look at solutions.
Okay.
We don't need solutions. There is the solution. Look at those lights.
You can't see it anymore because now you're in the loading bay.
Oh, I can still see them.
I take Aurora's hand again. Aurora.
Yes.
I know those colours must just be truly stunning. I wish I had your beautiful mind and your beautiful just view of this world and this reality. But just for a second, can you indulge me, this lesser being, and stare into my eyes and come back and join us as we disembark this ship?
I look at you with two eyes, but I keep one eye closed so I can still visualize the lights.
Open the other eye.
All right. You
All right.
roll me into the false sense of security with that voice and those looks and...
And then bam.
And you are all suddenly distracted by the disengagement of the 6-pack of grunts that are discharged from the ship. So they deploy their weapons and fall quickly in line in sequential order behind
Form flying V.
Power
just spread
squad from accounting V. It's much like a flying V, but more organised.
Very well. They're there to meet you on the other side of the door from this defensive. So the hangars at the bottom of each of the talons are a part of the defensive network, and you go through the door from them into the ecology of the House of Face, and half of your power squad is there to meet you.
Only half?
Well, the others are engaged with trying to
Oh,
get
that's
through this
okay.
door.
They're doing their jobs. That's fine. I move to the half of my power squad and I go, status report, please.
Status report. Yes, sir. We're trying very hard to get through this door. Many of us have talked to it extensively. We're trying to engage some of the binary systems that the House of Love used to use to really get around it, but we just haven't been able to crack it.
Do you think that laser might work?
It is the one scientifically proven cure to love is just slice it out with a laser.
I like your thinking. Let Arnold here have a crack at it.
You make your way up and you get down the corridor and you see these are all pristine white corridors. There are regular intervals where you can find communication devices to all the parts of this ecology, and some of them which go up to the main crystal tower if they're working. You're not quite sure. And you come to the door, and it is in fact sealed off, an isolation chamber where typically people do intensive research.
All right. Okay. We try to get further in.
Okay, cool. Well, the door is locked.
Yep.
Yeah. So zub zub.
I will begin picking that door apart with a
3 slices, and the thing just falls to pieces.
Good work, Arnold. We'll move through.
6-pack. Secure the other side
Yeah. Thank you.
And you look in,
with some amount of prejudice.
and it's a large, empty room. Like I said, it's an isolation chamber, so radiant, ambient lights just sort of echo around the wall. These were actually requested from your department a long time ago. They're study lights. They really help you focus on a single task. You're pretty familiar with the ambient rhythms, so just calm the nerves and allow you to generate, put all your focus into a single task. But in the middle of the floor, you see a single thrall with a console in front of them, and they're just sitting cross-legged on the ground, wearing the familiar clothes of House Face, or the garb of House Face, and they are just making a very familiar sound on a control panel. Beep, 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 beep.
Excuse me, Thrall. Hello. Hi. Can I just put my hand over the
They have a
console?
wire plugged into their head. Common for thralls of House Love, but uncommon for thralls of House Face.
Can I please... I'm just going to yank the wire out. It'll be fine. Don't worry.
Give me a first aid roll. Medicine or first aid, your choice. Okay, he seems to be having some pretty severe cerebral hemorrhaging caused by sudden shock to the system from being disengaged from a deep study. But that's okay. You're used to this.
I have my cerebral band-aids.
You pull out your cerebral band-aids
Stick something in it.
and apply them liberally to his head.
Do they look like corks?
It's like a band-aid.
Yeah.
It's got one of those little aerials with concentric circles off the end of it.
And you sit down and start making noises, and occasionally you flick the little antenna that comes out of the band-aid. Doom, flick. Doom, flick. He's like, eventually he starts twitching and coming to. Hey, your eminence, What amazing privilege do I have to be graced
okay, focus on me, all right?
with such...
Yep, no, look, all right? You here?
yes,
You're
Your
focused? You're focused? Focus. All right. So, while this ship has been being destroyed, you have been sitting in here doing what now?
I've been engaging in the extensive study and diagnostic of the various sub-languages and sub-dialects of the ecology of House Love.
Yes, so we could really use your services because the ecology of House Love seems to be not functioning at the moment.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. You know they are incredibly efficient. I have a lot of respect for the way that they organize their systems.
Okay.
They're able to run this whole ship entirely by themselves. Did you know that? Their service corridors can go pretty much everywhere, and all of their machines connected to everything. The machines are really connected to everything.
See? Little doors.
Yeah. They're onto it. They know what I'm talking about. Little doors everywhere.
Can you even look at yourself and call yourself a member of House Faith? House Face?
Looks at himself like he's suddenly taking stock of the disheveled state that he's in, the lack of personal hygiene that he's like engaged in, and he's perhaps I can have a shower and a change of clothes.
Okay, no. We don't need you to be well. We need the top of the ship is unscrewing itself, and we need.
Take some time for yourself. I think
No, don't listen. Don't.
Really? I mean, I feel like that's exactly what I need right now.
No, it's really not what you
It's just
need.
really nice to talk to anybody.
No,
Call
you
my
don't.
therapist, Patrick. He'll be right here.
Patrick sounds amazing, but you know, the vibes I'm getting from you right now are just so pure.
What was on his console?
It's one of those little audio devices.
Oh, it's just a like beep 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 beep.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something more exciting than that. Sorry.
No. Do you want to play with it?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Well, I've got a bit of time.
No, we don't have time. Can you please?
I've been having some
my
deep
God.
problems, possibly some revelations that are really earth-shattering.
Does anyone have some grapes around here? Tell me more.
Grapes, yes. Fruit. I must have fruit.
All right. Power Squad, can you bring this man some food? Preferably not.
Straight away.
All right.
They run off that little wheels on the bottom of their feet. Boom.
All right. Do I have your attention now?
Yes.
Angelson,
Yes.
do you mind asking your new friend about what's going on? If he knows anything about what's going on, if he's even aware of what's happening outside this little isolation pod?
Bethel asked me to ask you
Oh my God.
what's going on.
I feel like I'm being overcome with feelings right now. Like the small world that I was in was shattered and broached by only the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I can totally understand how you feel.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I mean, really, I'm just a leaf in the wind.
Oh my God.
We're not getting anywhere, Bethel.
Angelson, can I please ask you to step outside?
Is this the translator?
No, can you Angelson, can you please just step outside just for a bit? Just please leave.
I'll fetch some.
Please, yeah, please.
Oh, where are we going?
No. You stay here.
Is this the translator?
Yeah, this is apparently the translator. I don't know.
I am a translator.
Oh, okay.
Are you?
I spend my years focused on one task and one task alone.
All right, well, maybe you can...
As is my calling, as my master taught me. This is my mentor. This is my one true path in life. But I certainly haven't talked to anyone for a long time. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. But maybe you could call down to House Love and just see what's going on.
What's going on with House Love? Have you been in communication with them?
No, I've been studying their records extensively on an isolated circuit.
An isolated circuit?
Yeah, for the last 5 years.
For the last 5 years.
That would have been enough time to create that machine.
Oh, they have created many machines. Can I tell you about them?
Yes, tell me about the big
Oh my
one
God, they
that
have the
looks
capacity
a
to
lot
create all
like the
kinds of
Spire.
I don't know about a specific one, but they exclusively made the Spire, and it's about generational knowledge that's been handed down year after year, and they're always kind of improved their models, so they're always working on new things.
So it's an upgrade down there.
Quite possibly, yeah. They could make an entirely new one. I believe even in the last 500 years since they made the previous one, the technologies have developed to such a degree that it can be micronized so extensively that even a small Spire, 1/3 of the size, would be able to do all the same capacities, even more than what they currently have in the Crystal Palace.
So it's an upgrade. It's
I believe so, yes.
Probe Spire 2.1.
Well, quite possibly. I mean, I haven't seen it myself, but I can only imagine the technological marvels these fantastic and unique races come up with.
Yes.
Would you care to tell us where the main ship power comes from and how House Love is great at providing that?
Well, they made all the primary power machines that they made and maintain all the power machines that were installed in all of the ecologies so many years ago. They could, but they were handed over, and general routine maintenance is handled by all the individual ecologies. So,
Could you ask them to switch the computer off and then on again?
Yes.
Because I think it just needs a little reboot.
Well, okay, before we start just switching off spaceships, can I ask, now that their great head of house is gone...
It is?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Have you
that's
heard?
That's really, really sad.
It's very sad.
The head of House Love has been doing an amazing job for the last few hundred years.
It's been...
There was an announcement.
Not all of the last
And a
few hundred
memo.
years. The last week or so has been a bit sketchy.
What happened?
He died.
Oh, really? Well, surely the chief liaison officer would be able to handle...
Yeah, the chief liaison is also out of the picture.
Died too.
Tragic.
That's a tragedy.
So,
Such respect for those people.
who
Person.
Oh.
person?
Really?
In the end.
Oh.
Who comes next?
Well, typically the progeny of the house heads will take over. But I'm not aware of any progeny that was spawned by the leader of the House of Love. I don't think Arkwell Bleebloop had any.
So then what happens if there's no progeny?
Well, it is potential for their genetic material to be recycled and respawned. I believe that's the responsibility of House Life.
It is our responsibility. Yes, maybe we should go and...
Oh, grapes! As you return into the room. Yes, the only... Starts eating the grapes furiously. The only people who are capable of the same level of mechanical understanding is the biomechanical genius of House Life. They surely store on file all of the genetic material of all of the heads of the houses and could probably recreate him. Not with all of his memories. I believe that's why he was against that kind of recreation, because no matter how pure the genetic reproduction was, it wouldn't have all of the remarkable augmentations that catalogued him to new states of pan-dimensional mathematics.
So, does this mean we have to go to House Life? I don't.
It'll probably
I'd
be
love to show you my home.
very leisurely, I imagine.
It's very lovely over there.
Well, I feel like this could be the way to get the House of Love back on board.
So what are we going to ask the House of Life when we get there? I just want an action plan, so we don't just walk around and do hippie stuff.
Recycle the genetic material from the head of House of Love into someone else.
Just some blanks.
And, I mean, we could always provide some chemical assistance should there be required to help them elevate themselves to a higher level. And then we've got, boom, a leader.
All right, well, let's do it.
Let's go for
Wait. I understand, but the fundamental piece of machinery that you would need is a control module. Something to implant into their head. It's only generated by House-Life. If you could implant it into them, then perhaps they'd respond to your new house leader, or maybe anyone who has it implanted.
Anyone
So long as they have
with
the
a
correct
control
genetic
module?
sequencing.
Oh.
I mean, Angelson, you know that genetic sequencing can be modified. Sequencing can be modified in your labs.
with my mouth full of grapes. Yeah, I know that.
Oh, these grapes are really good.
All right.
So that means anyone with that genetic code can just control them all. Just clarifying.
And
that's the
anyone
science.
can be modified to have that genetic code.
Yes.
So where would this control module be?
I guess if I could access their systems or a control panel in their environment, I might be able to find out. But the maintenance network goes all throughout the ship. I could probably just go through one of the small doors into another small door,
Small doors!
and then access a console.
All right. So should we find the control console first and then go to House Life?
Well, otherwise we're going to House Life for no reason.
No, I think we should find the yeah, exactly. So we should go find the control console
Because then
first.
it's all in one place. You want to go there, ask them to do it, then go back, find the control panel. It's a long way.
So control panel first.
Yep.
The whole time, the same buzz sound of the Crystal Palace has been rotating.
Should we
Evolving restaurant.
try to pop up there?
Yes.
Well, yeah. Should we?
Yes. But I want to watch the small door in action first.
Sorry?
I want to see the small door in action before I go.
Okay. So control panel
I'll happily
first.
show you the small door.
All right, let's go get this control panel.
Small door.
Yep.
Please.
Okay, excellent. So you guys head out, and this Ronald directs you out of the door. He goes, over here. I believe they're everywhere. He starts looking around and starts touching things. And in an almost invisible slot in the wall, he pushes a little panel, and then this small door opens up. And you look out, and you see another one of these corridors, very similar to the House Love corridors. It's much to be a part of the maintenance network that goes around the whole of the inside of the ship. You look out, and he goes, they're usually not so far from here. And he goes, walking down the corridor, he's like, over here. You're actually too big to fit in this corridor.
Not all looking short.
Well, you can engage stealth functions if you like.
Yeah.
Okay, so Renault pushes a large button in his chest, and all of his armor and exterior body parts fall away.
As he shrinks slightly.
Slow
and falls
deflation.
out. And now a standard 5 foot fall for figure.
5'4" is 100% standard.
Yeah, standard pilot shape falls out the bottom and escorts you through the door. You find yourself in the corridor, and eventually the translator arrives at a console and looks at it, and then starts just pulls up a screen and pushes a button, and another one of those little beep boop beep consoles comes out, and he starts engaging with it. What did you want me to do? Oh, locate the thing. Yes, of course. I'm terribly sorry. Looks through and makes a check. I can't seem to reach it from this console. I probably have to get somewhere closer, somewhere in House of Life.
We'll go to House of Life. We'll go. But we might as well.
Oh, sorry, somewhere in House of Love.
Okay, well then we'll go to, that's much more preferable to be honest. Let's go. House of Love. Can we stay up the upper echelons though? There's no point drudging ourselves back down.
Okay, so you head back down to the hangar, and now you got to the top of the ship, to the docking ring. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ooh, we are
you-
so close to the
Again, you get to
revolving
close.
restaurant.
Oh my god, you get once more to see those lights as you jump out in the ship, see the glory of space. And then eventually it's closed off as you pull into the large docks in the upper side. You head into the docking bays above which ecology?
At the House of Love.
Okay, and you land. These are general market centers, so all kinds of people are running around in this space, and a lot of people seem to be panicking. So you see lots of thralls. There are thralls from all of the houses. And then this is where alien visitors stay as well. So you see a few foreign guests running around, just grabbing supplies and loading them to the ships. The whole place seems to be in complete disarray, utter chaos.
Six-pack?
Looting is happening. One of the vending machines is being torn over and ripped open, and supplies are being taken out of it. Six-pack spreads out as a cordon of defense around you.
I will plug myself into the ship briefly and...
You reinflate.
All right.
and lead the triangle.
Okay, you get to the entrance of House Love. And there's a primary control console outside, and the translator says, we're going in here, yes?
Yes.
Yes, Reynolds.
Giant doors big enough to drive several large ships through and escort massive machines in and out through the superstructure of the ship. Just there before you, and it goes to the console, pulls a little beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. And then slowly the doors open. He's like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. As behind the doors, you see a line of these disassembly droids, and behind them you see an army of like 50 thralls.
Tactical retreat.
Six-pack, tactical retreat.
They all jump in front of you and start firing. Their laser rifles just blasting into them. The big creatures with like march forwards. A swirling melee now starts to take place, but the doors are still open, and there's a vast amount of space above the melee that's taking place on the floor.
Are they ranged weapons?
Other members of
To the
House
ship.
of Arms see this conflict and immediately and instinctively fall into line with the other six-pack operatives, and then create a defensive cordon both around you and there, but they're having a hard time.
That's what they're there for. Back to the ship. We
Yep.
will fly through.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Yep.
You
Okay.
jump back to the shuttlecraft, take off. There are a few people who are trying to break the lock to get into your ship. Just a couple of squat aliens with a few extra arms. You put the electronic probes out, they back off. You jump into the ship, and it cruises in. You're flying above, and it seems like there are some people on the ground who are trying to keep track of you, but you fly for a while, but then you start to see the end of the hangar where the corridor starts to split into smaller sections and wheedle off, so you won't be able to fly much farther. But you do see the translator's like, there's a primary console right there.
Bring it down. Avoid the primary console. Gently.
Yep. It just, ship comes to a hover. It's on a railing about halfway up the main corridor, stairs going down either side. So you pop and open just a ramp that goes out. Do you all jump out onto the rampway, or do some of you stay on the ship?
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm coming with.
Coming with? All right, awesome.
Oh, well, then maybe I'll stay on the ship.
So the rest of you go out onto the walkway, and the translator goes up to it and goes, all right, engages with it, and is like, all right, I found it. It's actually not far from here. If we go down the central corridor, I'll download it quickly. Hold on, let me just check. What have I got? He's sort of looking around like he needs something to put the directions on.
Something to put directions on. Okay.
Surely you have like a slate, a device?
Oh,
that
I have
can-
a slate. I write things all the time.
Oh, excellent. You're not out there, though.
No, I'm not out there. I'm not aware of the situation.
Throw it down.
What? Sorry, what do you need?
Throw it. Slate.
Do you know how much this slate cost? It's like the top model. I'm not throwing it anywhere.
It's gold-plated.
I walk up the ramp and I ask and collect it.
Thank you. I kindly give it.
And I walk back down, really slowly though.
Okay, come back. Excellent. Okay, great. He transcribes the directions and then says, this way.
Oh, what? We're leaving? Okay, I'll jump out of the ship and follow.
Okay. You start going.
Oh, can we follow in the ship? Sorry, you will.
How was your alone time? I understand sometimes.
It was fine. Thank you. You know, sometimes we need alone time. I know you don't understand that. I know you really don't understand that, but sometimes it's just good for a bit of space. Anyway, continue.
You go down a series of corridors. Everyone seems to be quite distracted by the conflict at the front doors. So eventually you come to a point where you see a large storage area. There seem to be only 5 or 6 thralls who are dealing with requisitions. They're handing out requisitioned equipment through a large vending portal from a big storage area to people who are coming up to the front.
What sort of equipment is being handed out?
You are entirely uncertain. Some of it seems pointy and sticky, other of it seems blocky and possibly roundy.
Excellent.
You don't recognize any military hardware.
Irrelevant.
It's thralls, they're all irrelevant.
It's true. So, and he says, it's in there. It's in the storage area. We can probably interface it through a requisition, but I'm not sure if they'll grant it. Only people of House Love will be able to get to access it. In fact, I believe the codes are specifically set for the head of House Love alone.
I have some brains here. Can we use these brains to maybe rub it on the control panel?
Can we?
Really clever, aren't you? So as you guys are talking about rubbing ointment on the skin, you approach a section of the wall. You enter into what looks like the interior of a giant manic, multi-million armed claw machine, constantly moving around, grabbing different things out of different vats off shelves in this beautiful mechanical unity that possibly only Renaud the interpreter appreciates as he looks up and goes, the mathematics is impeccable. As things that you think are going to collide with each other just move easily past.
No, I get it. It's like the whole navigating through space thing. It's amazing.
Okay. It's true. And eventually he says, I'll just interface with one of these consoles. And there are some consoles inside. And he jumps in and he makes an attempt to, immediately override the system and bring exactly what you need to you right now. So a box, it's not particularly big. It is round. It seems to be made of pure platinum with various other mechanisms inside, and it glows with radiant pink energy coming out of a couple of different places in the device. It has a series of nasty-looking syringes.
Okay.
Syringes are nasty
You put this side to the head. It has to go in the temple.
Sure. I take the device, the control unit, and I say, do we need to do the genetic resequencing before or after?
Yes, otherwise it will eat your brain and you'll die.
Great, perfect. Let's go to the House of Life.
Okay, you find your way out. You get back to the ship, and you fly out through the hangar. Now, at this point, the doors are closing again. So just make you've got an assigned pilot. The assigned pilot goes, flies the doors are closing. He's like, and he's trying to do this sweet maneuver where he turns the ship on its side to get through the closing doors. But as he does so, the wings clip, and you all get shuttered, and the ship starts to disintegrate into multiple pieces that are all falling down on the melees below, and the ship starts careening towards the floor of the hangar bay. What would you guys like to do?
I'm going to leave him a 1-star review on the House Arms internal system.
Okay,
Then-
excellent. Yes.
Prepare for exit. The best kind of exit, a violent exit.
Excellent. You prepare for a halo escape from the low-flying aircraft.
I'm going to grab Aurora in my arms and activate my anti-grav and just jump out.
Okay, and yourself?
Angelson, just look for a gap and fall out of it. And just go limp.
Yeah, I'll dive very graciously.
Okay, please give me probably one of the most important dexterity rolls you'll ever make in your life.
Oh, damn it.
Ladies and gentlemen, like a beautiful cat arcing gracefully from the side of the ship, Angelson gives a sideways glance to Arnold as they descend through the air together, paralleling their descent. And as Renault thumps to the ground, Angelson lands soundlessly like a cat on their feet. Fist bump in progress. Eyes glance for a second before once more surveying the manic chaos of the cargo bay. The ship descends into the distance, smashing into the console that operates the magnetic seal or the environmental seal that stops the atmosphere from escaping out of the hangar, and the energy shimmers and starts to weaken as air starts sucking out en masse. People with the goods they're looting, smaller ships being sucked out, equipment.
I
Can we get-
grab the back of Angelson's unitard and help anchor her to the floor.
Okay. You titanium anchors shoot out from your feet, embedding into the superstructure.
Dozens of non-sentient massage tools get sucked out into space. Stress levels go up slightly.
I'm still encased in your arms.
No, is there any way that we can get onto one of a ship of some sort?
You look around and quickly survey the scene. There is one of the heavier bulk freighters that's still in place.
Yeah, if we can maneuver into that, that would be ideal.
Okay, it seems to be manned by a bunch of small aliens. They're like little grub-type creatures that have a couple of psychically controlled appendages that just sort of waft around them, and they're sort of, a bunch of them are being sucked out through. Others are trying desperately to close the loading hatches as cargo gets taken out of the ship, but there is still a cargo hatch open.
Yep.
You guys rush in. They're startled and astounded as you sort of jump inside. They all make squealing.
At them. A thrall is going past. I will hurl it so it gets sucked back towards and arcs on in and just smacks them out of the way.
They explode in postulant bubbles upon the various walls and floor around the space, possibly creating a supreme diplomatic incident, but hell, this is an emergency.
There are no diplomats left, right?
Yeah.
There is no love
You
left on
rush
the ship.
quickly to the cockpit of the ship where you see several of these creatures shivering and shaking.
We are commissioning your ship. And
They switch a dial.
we are commissioning your ship. Please remain on board. No harm will come to you.
You're very attractive. Please do not kill us.
Thank you. I am. Keep that in mind as we do not kill you. Please move to the back of the ship. We will be taking it now.
Okay. You realize at this point you do not know how to fly the ship as they start to move from their seats. The ship itself is slowly scraping along the floor.
So do you know how to fly a ship?
I've got physics. I feel like that would work.
Do
A little bit of dodge. Perfect.
Can I call out to Reynolds?
Oh, now
Yes, he says, breaking his gaze away from Angelson.
No, sorry. I want Arnold.
Well-
Wrong.
Actually, it's very interesting. Renaud is not with you anymore.
It's fine. We've used him.
You left him behind as you exited the shift very quickly, and you imagine his pieces are probably scattered amongst the loading bay right now.
Look, I've got navigation, physics. What could go wrong?
It's what he would have wanted.
Can you,
I jump into the
I have
pilot's
military
seat.
science.
Arnold, can you fly this thing?
I can calculate the best place to fly it.
The ship is being grated more and more and more towards the exit.
All right, I've read books. I'm good. I'm going to do
You
an education
tried it.
check on this.
Great. Make it an extreme education check.
Oh.
Yes, 23, under 70.
Yeah, you can wing it.
That's pretty close.
You grab the controls, you realize that this ship is actually controlled by 2 holes, and you stick your fingers into each hole and then sort of move your hands like this in order to interface with the ups, downs, and arounds of its view.
Lucky you have long, thin fingers.
You do have long, thin, spindly, beautiful, slightly translucent fingers that you find are actually really complementary to this control mechanism.
Yeah, we should have this on all our ships.
Okay. You get a bit of lift, and then suddenly the ship gets sucked completely out into space. You see the debris. You're surrounded by bodies, forms, cargo. It's just floating around you. You look back and you make a power roll as you once more see the all-encompassing light of beauty above you.
35. I'm good.
Stick with us, Aurora.
You look up, your third eye instinctively opens, drawing in the amazing spiraling light. You realize you're closer now than you were even before. Make another sanity roll.
Betholt.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so you only lose 1 point of sanity as you realize you're much closer to it and the shapes and the universe. As you start to discern specific clusters, and you realize you could probably start to memorize and navigate the charts that are in there.
I do want to just put my arm around Betholt and just try to
Okay.
not Betholt, I'm Betholt. Around Aurora.
You embrace yourself tenderly.
One of my arm embraces myself.
And now I know how you really feel.
So you and Aurora and the moral support, the grapes. You look at the grapes and you think of Ronald. Or maybe you don't. He was just a thrall.
Thinking about the grapes, really.
Yeah, grapes.
Wasted on him.
They were wasted on him. You could have those grapes right now.
Yeah.
You enter the ship and you bring the ship to bear. You fly around to the exact opposite side of the ship. You decide to take a detour across the top above the Crystal Palace.
So I can see.
You look down inside and you can all make spot hidden rolls.
Do we want to make spot hidden rolls?
Can we indeed? No, we can't.
No.
I could spend some luck. I'd like
Yeah,
to
if you want to
see
spend a
now.
little...
I'd like to spend some
Yeah, spend some luck. All right.
I'm going to spend
So you don't see it
7.
at first, but something catches you off about it, and you start to see that there are lights that shouldn't be down there. You look closer, and your expert eagle eye vision kicks in from your purely genetic form, and you zoom in, and you're able to zoom in enough to be able to see tiny explosions taking place, gunfire, structures being dented. A conflict is happening in the Crystal Palace. You fly over the top of it, and you come to the other side, and you land in the loading docks. Again, things are pretty chaotic, but as you go into the docks, you see that many members of House Love have spread themselves among the panicking crowds and are working very hard to keep a calm sense of peace and security. Massages, ointments, unguents, the whole place smells delightful, calming all of the panicked crowds in the environment.
Is House Life working their charms?
This is House Life working their charms to try and maintain order in this time of extreme chaos.
So where do we do this genetic resequencing?
Angelson.
Yes, I will walk in and be immediately...
Recognized.
Yes.
A horde of people come up to you. Oh, Angelson, it is so great to have you here. We've lost communication with the Crystal Tower.
I know it's been such a stressful day for me.
I'm so sorry. Please, come sit in this massage chair.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell you, this morning I woke up and I...
Team of 6 people start doing... Someone pulls out one of those little eggs to, massage your head.
Oh.
I just relay off everything that's happened in the day.
Okay, we are under a time limit. I would like to...
Yes, of course. They turn on the anti-gravity functions of the massage chair and start wheeling you in the direction that you want to go.
So we need to... Do you still have the control?
Yes, but I hold firmly onto it.
Okay.
So, yes, you hold on to the control mechanism and... Yeah, they say, what do you need to do, sorry?
We need a host for this control mechanism.
So what does this control mechanism do?
It will become a progeny of the House of Love. And
A new progeny for the House of Love? So you need us to genetically resequence somebody so that they can receive this.
Precisely.
We'll take you to the resequencing chamber immediately. Ooh, massage, massage, massage. Application of grapes. You go through some winding corridors and into a large lift. The lift has soothing music playing in it. A pleasant smell like temple incense wafts through the room, and the floor itself has a radiant light emanating the vibration of the frequency of a cat's purr, causing your whole body to accelerate its healing process.
This is spectacular.
Yep, it's fun.
Please bring my grape ivy.
Yes, certainly. It's like a large tube that goes down to your mouth and deposits one grape at a time, kind of like a giant elaborate Pez dispenser. And,
Grape hat.
and you make your way through the corridors, and you come into a large resequencing chamber where there are several chairs and access to the entire catalog of genetic material that has been captured and stored by a House of Life.
I don't know that much about this. My thralls, I call them over.
Oh, yes. Who is to be resequenced, Your Eminence? Who
I-
will take control of the House of Love and thus all of the mechanisms on this ship?
Oh,
I
can do
will.
that.
Sorry?
I don't mind. I mean, those needles
no.
look great.
I think it's been very clear from this expedition that I'm clearly the most efficient, the most diplomatic, the most effective vessel for this, and thus I will take this responsibility on.
Aurora, please make a psychology roll.
Yep.
Aurora, can you please show me the card that you hold?
This one?
Yeah. And who is unrequiting your love? Yes, well, it seems they're showing their true colors now. It seems that they can't ever truly love you. It seems like the compassion that you held for this person for so long and all of the gestures that they had for you were simply trivial.
I don't think it should be you. I don't think that you can work with the House of Love because clearly you can't love anyone but yourself.
I reach out to take their hand.
No, I take my hand away. I'm not falling for these tricks anymore. It's me. It has to be me.
No,
My body is already primed.
I don't think it matters how you feel. I think it matters what is best, and clearly I'm the best choice. You have shown yourself to be unreliable. You keep looking up into this black hole, this danger we're in, and wanting to go straight into it.
My Eminence, what shall we do? Say your thralls.
I believe that it should be the most beautiful.
Oh, don't you
My round,
start.
stout figure is perfect,
Oh.
as we all know.
Is there something that looks like a machine that you have to get into?
Yes,
to be,
but there are several of them.
I'm just going to hop into one now. Start!
No. Angelson. I know it didn't end well.
Oh, really? Oh, you forgot all about that. What cards do you have?
Oh my cards.
Oh, your brooding ex? Yeah, that one time you had that fling. I mean, you got over it pretty quickly. You just went through the right therapy and moved on, but it all comes rushing back to you. The tawdry nights, the heated affairs, the disgruntled looks on the face of Bidalt Carr as they moved away from you, isolating themselves and cutting themselves off. More deliberately, destructively. You see these negative emotions now welling inside them.
Angelson. I know you think very little of me.
I don't think anything of you. I'm sorry I didn't remember.
I know you don't think anything of me. But you are too important to this mission,
I agree.
to this ship.
I agree.
So it should be me.
No, it shouldn't be you.
I'm too important to not have.
No. You are too important to take on this responsibility because clearly you are needed in your own house. You will one day, I believe that one day you will be elevated within your own house to take control. And I think that is so much more important.
Hang on. Were you two a thing?
I honestly can't remember.
A rumble starts separating more intensely. The buzz clicking of the rotating of the top of the ship has now stopped, and it seems like something has detached.
I jump into a chair and I use persuasion. I think I've given enough very persuasive speeches.
You can make a persuasion roll over one of the thralls.
We can do this. I'm actually going to spend, you know what? I'm going to spend 30 luck and make that a better success.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 luck. Come at me.
So one of your thralls has been paralyzed by indecision. They've all been waiting this whole time, and starts moving over to engage the sequencing. You recognize what they're doing, but you ultimately have the power here. In spite of what negative emotions Bethalt holds for you, you know what to do, and you can speak to them in languages that they don't understand.
I say, do the thing. And they know that means do it to me.
And they
Slightly
say they're speaking to you in a language that nobody else can understand at the moment. So, and what shall we do to the member of this house?
Just pretend, just give a bit of a massage, fake it hurt a little bit, make them feel like...
Yes, of course.
Make them feel like it's
So everybody can go in the chairs. Okay, very well. Good. So you get in the chair, and they come over, and they start strapping you into the chair as well.
Do you know what? No. I'm tired of this. I know where I am not appreciated and I am not wanted. I'm going back to the ship. I'm just going to fly off into those. I need to learn what it's all about. I'm going to go into the void and those colours and just take some time for me. I hear it's good for
you.
you.
Do need some me time sometimes.
Oh, yeah, okay. You need to be quiet.
As you're getting strapped in and little massages and actually that feels really nice.
Yeah, I actually thought it would be more painful than this.
That's really good. Genetic resequencing isn't too bad, actually.
Should have done this years ago.
Yeah. So, as you fly out of the hangar bay, are you alone?
I'm slightly
Where are
crying.
you in all of this, Renault?
The House of Arms is typically neutral in such affairs.
So you stand by and oversee the process?
I stand by and make sure I don't have to mechanically separate any mofos. But aside from that,
So you
I'm
stand
just the executioner.
and watch. At this point, you don't quite realize what it is that you're watching over.
That
But
is so
Aurora?
often the case.
You jettison yourself out. You get in the shuttle and you stick your fingers in the little holes and you fly out to the light, which you now see. And you see the Crystal Palace and the ecology of the House of Stars flying off into the distance, being sucked towards the black hole. And now, as you go deeper, you can see with the purity of vision that you have taken from the drive, the absolute clarity of the star systems beyond,
Yes, with my brothers and sisters.
into the new worlds beyond, and you join the Crystal Palace, flying into new and uncharted territories as Renault sits back, watching two chairs around which studious agents of the House of Life operate, strapping and attaching and massaging and liberally applying grapes and aromatic ointments to various parts of the body, rotating counterclockwise, clockwise, and then counterclockwise to induce the correct genetic sequencing in Angelson's body. Bethalt falls into a deep, deep slumber, having the years of stress, a lifetime of high-strung agony finally unwound from their body. This trans-dimensional experience paralyzes you really for as long as Angelson wishes. But when Angelson once more awakes from this slumber, resequenced as the new master of the House of Love, they have complete control of all of the repurposed ship, and so decide where to go from here in a bold new chapter of the Octavius' history. Thank you for playing. Thank you for watching. This has been Death in the House of Love. I appreciate you sitting through the whole thing. This has been Tabletop Dynasties. We've been playing at Arcanacon 20. We look forward to seeing you all at next Arcanacon. Come down. It's a great time. If any of you haven't yet got one, come visit us. Get a tiny Call of Cthulhu guy.
Yeah.
And
it's very lucky for your dice.
Are they?
tiny baby Cthulhu dice charmed and not guaranteed to charm dice. We'll see you all next time. Signing out. Thanks, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yay! I got to the stars. I was trying to get that ship. I really wanted to take everyone with me. What were your cards?
Oh. I wanted to meet you.
Oh.
However.
Was I a little bit too crazy for you to want to be